Incidentally, what do you mean when you use the word nature? What is nature study? Natural history. The Museum of Natural History. What do you expect to find there? Well, for many people, nature means the birds, the bees, and the flowers. It means everything that is not artificial. People think, for example, a building like this is not natural, it's artificial. The natural state of the human being is to be naked, but we wear clothes, and that's artificial. We build houses. Is there any difference between a human house and a wasp's nest? Or a bird's nest? Not really. But we do have in our minds, you see, the idea that nature is somehow outside us. We've got some nature in us. We say there's a thing called human nature, and mostly bad. Human nature, according to Dr. Freud, is motivated by the libido. And you know what that is. And you can't trust it. In the old days, they used to beat it with whips. But Freud said, don't do it that way. You have to treat it as a good horse trainer. Trains a horse by giving it a lump of sugar every now and then. And get it controlled that way. Be kind to it. Respect it. Even though it's really very, very disrespectable. The first theory is the Western theory, which is that nature is a machine or an artifact. We inherit this from the Hebrews, who believed that nature was made by God in somewhat the same way as a potter makes a pot out of clay, or a carpenter makes a table out of wood. It is not insignificant that Jesus is the son of the carpenter. Our tradition has been to look upon the world as a construct. And somebody knows how it was put together. Somebody understands. And that is the constructor, the architect, the Lord God. But it so happened that in the 18th century, Western thought began to change. They became increasingly doubtful as to whether there was a maker, whether there was a God. But they continued to look upon the creation as an artifact, as a machine. And by the time of Newton, people were explaining the world in terms of mechanism. And we are still under the influence of that idea, because after all, in things like Life magazine and so on, when they give you an article on human physiology, they usually make drawings which show the human being as a kind of mechanism, as a sort of factory. And they show how the peristaltic action carries the food in and how it's processed by this organ and that organ, as just as if a certain product is fed into a factory, cow at one end, and it comes out canned corned beef at the other. Just in such a way, the human is illustrated, and so too in some kinds of rather degraded medicine that is now practiced. When you go to the hospital for a medical examination, you are treated as a machine. They process you. You're not a person. You're put in a wheelchair immediately. Even if you're perfectly healthy and can walk, nevertheless they have to have you in this wheelchair. And they put you through a process. And the heart specialist looks only at your heart because he can't understand anything else. The otorhinolaryngologist, which means an ear, nose, and throat man, looks at that section of you, and he doesn't know about anything else. And maybe a psychiatrist takes a look at you, and goodness knows what happens there, and so on and so on. Everybody looks at you from their specialized point of view as if they were a bunch of mechanics examining your automobile. Because, as I said last night, we just asked for this, because most of us consider ourselves as chauffeurs. Inside our bodies, which we own in the same way as you own a car. And when it goes wrong, you take it to the mechanic to fix it. You don't really identify with your body, just as you don't really identify with your car. So here is this whole theory of nature, which has grown up in the West as an artifact, something made. The Chinese word for nature they call zhiran. And this expression means of itself so. What happens of itself. Or we might say spontaneity. It almost means automatic, because automatic is what is self-moving. Only we associate the word automatic with machinery. But zhiran, what is so of itself, is associated in the Chinese mind not with machinery, but with biology. Your hair grows by itself. You don't have to think how to grow it. Your heart beats by itself. You don't have to make up your mind how to beat it. That's what they mean by nature. The poem says, sitting quietly, doing nothing, spring comes and grass grows of itself. So their principle of nature is called a Tao, T-A-O, pronounced Dao in the Mandarin dialect, Tao in the Shanghai dialect, To in the Cantonese dialect. Take your choice. Tao means the course of nature. And Lao Tzu, who was a philosopher who lived a little later than 400 BC, wrote a book about the Tao. And he said, the Tao which can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. You can't describe it. He said the principle of the Tao is spontaneity. He said the great Tao flows everywhere, both to the left and to the right. It loves and nourishes all things, but does not lord it over them. It accomplishes merits and lays no claim to them. So there is a very great difference between the Chinese idea of Tao as the informing principle of nature and the Judeo-Christian idea of God as nature's Lord and Master. Because the Tao does not act as a boss. In the Chinese philosophy of nature, nature has no boss. There is no principle that forces things to behave the way they do. It is a completely democratic theory of nature. Correspondingly, you see, most Westerners, whether they be Christians or non-Christians, don't trust nature. Of all things, nature is the thing least to be trusted. You must manage it. You must watch out for it. It will always go wrong if you don't watch out. You know, the goblins will get you if you don't watch out. So we're always feeling that you can't trust it. See, we're absolutely instilled with the idea of original sin. You can't trust nature because it comes out with weeds and insects. And above all, you can't trust human nature because if you don't hold a club over yourself, you'll go out and rape your grandmother. Now, the Chinese would say, if you can't trust yourself, you can't trust anything. Because if you can't trust yourself, can you trust your mistrust of yourself? Is that well-founded? See? If you can't trust yourself, you are totally mixed up. You haven't a leg to stand on, you haven't a point of departure for anything. And in this respect, The Taoist philosophy and the Confucian philosophy are in agreement. In Confucius philosophy, the fundamental virtue of a human being is called Ren, spelled Jen for reasons best known to Chinese scholars. I don't know what they are, but it's pronounced Ren. And it's a character, Chinese character, that Confucius placed as the highest of all virtues, higher than righteousness, higher than benevolence, and it means approximately human-heartedness. Now, Confucius once said that goody-goodies are the thieves of virtue. Virtue in Chinese is de. We Romanize it as T-E-H, de. And it means virtue not in the sense of moral propriety, but virtue in the sense of magic, as when we speak of the healing virtues of a certain plant. A man of true virtue is therefore a human-hearted man. And the meaning of this is that one should, above all, trust human nature in the full recognition that it's both good and bad, that it's both loving and selfish.
Hey, y'all. Welcome. Big Saturday night tonight. Let's go to comments and let's see what's going on. We had an amazing time on, let's see, it was Thursday night to Friday. We had Zoom meeting number 2. And those of you that were able to make it heard some unusual things. We had a diverse dialogue. We talked about everything from coffee enemas to urine therapy, a little bit of the KM, and a number of other subjects. And it was a really great time. I really appreciate those that went. I know it was very late. I wanted to mention to everybody that there is an amazing chat group in my lives. The people that are in the chat are high quality people. I mean, I've now seen them, met them. I met y'all. I mean, it's incredible. And if I were you, I would watch, learn, and listen, because they have a lot of good things to say. And the thing that I picked up, especially from Darcy during the evening, is a genuine care for one another. And that's really hard to find these days. But the type of people, it seems, that these groups, or that my group attracts, are human-hearted people. And, you know, I'm not saying that everybody is, you know, perfect and all that kind of thing. I'm not trying to portray that. I'm just saying that of the percentage of people that are here, from what I've seen and experienced, the vast majority of them are here to learn. They're here to observe. They're here to contribute how they can and how they wish. And it's genuine. It's genuine. It's a beautiful group and very complimentary for what is going on here, and really excited about being a part of this, which is absolutely incredible, because this completely started just as a little YouTube page that I threw up because I wanted to, meaning not barfed, but put up onto the web, that, you know, didn't have any real intention and didn't know what would happen. And what has happened here has been miraculous. And what has happened in my life here, because of the chat and because of what this group is attracting, has had tremendous impact on my life. And I really want to thank you guys for that. Genuinely. I really want to thank you guys for that. So thank you for a great time. We're about to talk about when the next meeting is going to be. I got a good idea. But let me say hi to folks in chat. Hi, King. Hi, Matt. Hi, Fortune. Fortune, you are the reason. You are the reason there is the Zoom meeting now on my channel. Thank you. Hello, Survive and Thrive. Steady Eddie. Yeah, these are familiar names. Hello, Dave. Old Charlie. Hello, sir. Hello, King. Steady Eddie. Yeah. Hello, Donna. Yeah, these are all recognizable faces and names. Hi, James. Hi, Eldonna. Hi, Matt. Thank you. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it very much so. Love to the fam. Incredible group. I was in tears a number of times on Thursday night. I told a story I had never told, and I'll only tell it in private like that. And I call it private because it was really just about 40 people. And when you think about it, you know, I've got a number of fans between all my social media. So you consider, you know, the cream really has risen to the top in regards to the chat group. Because, I mean, some of these folks were in New York and they were in my room at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning. And that's just incredible. That is just incredible. These people really care and they genuinely want the best for everyone. So we're doing something special here, and something I wanted to mention. Let's go to something here I wanted to mention. Now, as you guys know, I'm working on a swag line, and I have had some folks from my chat volunteer to help out to get that going. And last week, I introduced this logo to you guys. And I talked about a little bit of the mythology, and here's why I'm starting like this. So right now, and I shared this on Thursday night at Zoom, right now the world is in the midst of attempting to discover, trying to define, trying to find a new mythology. Now, if you think about it, it's been the ancient Western minds' mythologies, be it from the Greco-Roman period, be it from the Catholic Church, be it from the ancient Canaanites. It doesn't really matter from where or which you draw. The vast majority of the population of the world knows about or has been indoctrinated with Western mythology, okay? And to give you an idea what mythology is going to be the guiding light, that which will carry the intrinsic principles that are not available in written word. Mythologies are word pictures, and their design is to ignite the deeper sense within you. And so the role of mythology isn't necessarily, in fact, is not at all, to be true. But at the same time, it's not a lie. Okay? So it's sort of a directive, but it's not law. It's a word picture that's to show you this deeper sense, so that once you align to that sense, you transcend the dualistic world. And a mythology is to carry an individual all the way from the birth, from the time that they first start being able to communicate, all the way to the grave. A mythology is to be relevant, is to be sacred, is to be, again, the guiding light, the guiding principle that lasts, that is relevant to you as a little tiny child, elementary school, junior high, relevant, as well as the 70, 80, 90-year-old who are passing on to the next dimension. And mythology is to bring you into relevance, not only with yourself, but with the world, and especially with the spiritual aspect, this intrinsic, all-knowing omniscience that animates and enlivens everything, okay? So a mythology's job is to render this to you. And that is outlined here in this little document I put together. I'm not going to read all this, but this is the role, the functions of mythology. And so what is happening right now, this is the point of this entire introduction. What is happening right now is people are realizing that the mythology that they have lived under their entire life is becoming irrelevant. It's becoming irrelevant to the science, to the technology, to the inner life of the individual, to the idea of spirit. It's losing touch. This is why I often say religion is dying, because religion is a form of mythology. It's just more centered on laws than it is philosophy here in the West. You see? And so the whole Western mind, the whole Western spiritual ontology is intertwined with the Western mythology. that has been passed down to you. And so right now we're in the midst of trying to find a new mythology that is relevant to our place, to our science, to our technology, to ourselves, to the spiritual, quote unquote, apparatus of which we build a deeper understanding. You see, and all of that is in flux. And so I said all that to let you know that this little logo here is an attempt to begin a new mythology. Okay? Big dream. So here, what I did is I wrote 6 slides that describe this logo, this mythological icon, you could call it, and how when you study it and when you consider the deeper senses that it is pointing to, when you take that on, you then can begin a new journey that is relevant, spiritual journey that is relevant to the times, that is relevant to the now. And this is what I'm attempting to point at with this logo. So starting from the center, the gold circle with the black dot is us humans, ancient sign for God. This renders the value of everything as a metaphor of the sun. The sun begets life and lenses, I hope you understand that, lenses wisdom from the universe in the same way you evoke life and lens your experience into value. The gold circle puts into metaphor something that cannot be put into form. And this right there shows you right there what is the obsession of the Jew, the Christian, and the Islamist. Forms, right? Icons, right? Okay. The whole idea of a mythology is to show you the icon, but not to attach to it, but to see and quote unquote attach to what it is exuding, what the form is bringing to you in deeper understanding. And the problem here in the West has been that we have attached to forms. We have attached to science. And these have become the center fulcrum from which we have derived understanding of ourselves and the universe. And you see the disconnect then. Because we have attached to form, we have locked ourselves down and made our world into a golf ball sized existence because we've locked into the form. And the whole point of the mythology is to show you something deeper through the form, but then you leave. You don't stay attached. You leave to discover more, which gets into the whole sensorial realm and dualism, which I'm going to talk about here because I received letters this week of people who were saying dualism is the worst thing in the world. We should destroy it. In the same way, in the 60s, they were saying ego is the worst thing in the world. We should destroy it. And you see, this is missing the point. This is missing the point because you don't want to destroy your ego. You see, you don't want to attach to the form. You see, because this locks you down. But at the same time, this gives you experience. And what is it that we bring to God, that we bring to the Akashic field? What is it that we bring that God can't bring in a sense? You see what I'm saying? We bring experience that is unique to ourselves. And because we are free creatures and free spirits, the whole idea is to experience that in a state of freedom, not in a state of capture. And when you've been captured by the mythology, when you have concretized the mythology into history, you see you've been captured. That captures you into form. And you guys know form only can take you so far. Words can only lead you so far. Eventually, you must venture into the forest because that is where the truth is going to render itself to you because you're not going to find it in a book. Okay? You're going to find it through word pictures. You're going to find it through mythologies. And this is what I'm pointing to here. The gold circle puts into metaphor something that cannot be put into form. The sun brings life, vitality, and warmth to the earth to inform and beget consciousness. Begin to see the pattern. Nature, polarity, contrasts, resonances, All of these sides are part and parcel of the same whole, manifesting through contrasts. There would be no life on the planet, no atmosphere, no vegetation could grow, no air to breathe, and so no ecosystem to thrive without the sun. The sun begets, informs, and animates all of earthly living, just as your soul animates and informs your earthly life. These two patterns are equated. Remember, we find truth in the patterns. And this identifies you with God as you follow the patterns of nature. A nature creature that came out of the earth, that's you, just as an apple comes out from the apple tree. The sun, then, is a metaphor of God, enlivening all things, potentiating all things, and illuminating truth. So is located in the center of the tree. You follow? It's the center point of the entire picture here, the entire logo. The center of the gold dot is black to denote void. What can't be known, finally. The void and the sun are two ends of the same pole, just as north and south are two ends of the same magnetic field. You are no different. You're just as full of life as you are filled with darkness, as you are composed of equal portions of positive and negative energies. You see, this form is pointing towards a deeper principle. And this is also a lesson tonight, because when you see me do this live, and this is the first time many of you have heard anything like this, when you see me do this live, you begin to see what they were doing in ancient times by generating stories, by giving you parables, so that you would see this deeper truth that is running beneath everything, but it's veiled. It's veiled by dualism so that you can experience it. Now follow. The ancient Norse Yggdrasil tree represents nature. Norse is the Viking mythology. The anima mundi expression in Norse or Viking mythology. The tree has a top and a bottom, and they reflect each other's structure. This is a hint of how nature is organized. As above, so below. Every good thing has its opposite, and it is in this dynamism that we are able to feel and cognize life. This is why you don't want to kill the ego. This is why dualism can actually serve you. Every right has a left. Every in has an out. Every top has a bottom. What is that called? That's called sense. This gives you a sense of things. This is why dualism is so important. It gives you a sense of things. It allows you to have experience, which is the fruit, the gift that you offer to God, that you offer to the Akashic field, that you offer to humanity. You see, and this is pointing at that. Okay. Nature, who loves to play, transmogrifies spirit into the illusory game called dualism, which composes through contrasts. Dualism is an illusion because it is the singularity, follow now, it is the singularity posing as separate, antithetical bodies of energy. Now, nature pervades opportunity, and so nature presents itself through the sensorium, the purveyor of dualism, you see, whose fruit is called experience, and nature is its gardener. You follow the sense? In this sense, then, we are fruits of the spirit that compose the universe. Have you ever thought about that, of being a fruit of the spirit, but it having nothing to do with the Bible? You see? It's the metaphor that's pointing. You see? That's why those phrases intersect these two ideas, one that's completely Christian and one that isn't. It's because the metaphor is the truth. And these are simply costumes. And the West has a costume for that metaphor. And we are now developing a new costume for that metaphor so that we can cognize it, so that we can realize it, and we can quell anxiety because we see the truth. And the truth isn't caught in the dualistic matrix. The dualistic matrix is an expression of the truth. In this sense, then, we are fruits of the Spirit that compose the universe. It is because of contrast that we can experience this in a here and now. Nature, see, that's very important. It is because of contrast, there it is, because of dualism, that we can experience this in a here and now. That's why your ego is important. It gives you the experience. This is why you can experience love in a tangible sense, you see. But at the same time, you don't want to attach to the ego, because that love turns into death, because you kill the metaphor when you associate it with time. You see, this is so freaking good. Okay. Nature, the anima mundi, evokes an unknowable God into a seeable, tangible, experiential consensus in your mind. Thus, it is through the polarity of opposites, right there, the tree, the polarity of opposites, that God, right there in the center, is cognized. And we experience that by participating. You see, you have to give yourself. You have to give yourself. That's the requirement here. And we're going to get into that. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. Exactly. I'm going to show you. Okay. We experience that by participating. The more risk you take, the more God you experience. Think about that. The more risk you take, the more vulnerable you are to the world, the more transparent you are to those that you love, right? The more risk you take, the more God you avail yourself of. This is what Thomas found out. This is what Thomas found out. And he said, I don't believe you clowns. I'm going to doubt you. And this accessed him the deeper principle, you see. And he was given permission to what? To put his hand into the flesh of God. What are you doing every day in nature? You're putting your hands, your body, your eyes, your mind into nature, because you're a nature creature. And getting your hands dirty, risking yourself, is what brings it to you. Not a plan, not goals, spontaneity. The unexpected is what delivers it to you, because the one who expects will never get it. You can't expect. That's not the way nature works. You can't put that on nature. This pattern relationship to nature reflects in Hermetic principles like as above, so below, polarity, correspondence, rhythm, and gender. These give to us the sensation of being alive. Follow this, which we seek over answers. That's from Joseph Campbell. He said, it is not answers which we seek. It is the sensation, the sensorium of being alive, the experience of really living. And when do I feel the most alive? When I'm flooring it, right? When the corner's coming and I'm not breaking, right? Full send, right? And then nature delivers it right back to you. It reciprocates back to you. Your concept of God reciprocates back to you. So the larger your concept of God, the more of the juice, the more of nature comes back to you. It's called understanding. It's called realization. It's called rapture. Okay? This is what this is all pointing towards. These give us the sensation of being alive, which we seek over answers as we are waves that become particles to elicit the experience called love. All of this happens by the commingling of the positive and the negative sides of the same underlying energy. You see, there's the tree. It has both the positive, the up, and the negative, the down. The hot up, the cold down. You see, it's expressed in this metaphor, this picture of this tree with God in the center. You see how much comes out of this thing when you squeeze it. All of this happens by the commingling of the positive and the negative sides of the same underlying energy. In fact, the Yggdrasil tree, the Norse tree of life, is the Western version of the yin yang. How about them apples, right? How about them apples? And again, we see the metaphors transcending the sides of the globe. You see, and you see this in Zen. This is what Alan was so brilliant as. He saw that kenosis was identical to satori, sudden awakening, self-emptying. What am I doing in kenosis? I'm self-emptying into God. What am I doing in satori? I'm realizing God. I'm realizing the rapture. Both lead to the same ends, you see, and it is through understanding the deeper principle, these things are no longer in conflict. They are together. You unite them together. You amalgamate them together with the deeper seed of truth hidden in that mythology. And we see it right here in the tree. It is hiding a deeper principle. It's hiding, but yet it is right in front of you. It's right in front of you. But you see, there's this veil that we get caught up in called attachment. And this locks the metaphor down. And you don't ever want to do that because you don't ever want to put a metaphor into concrete. Concrete is called time. And when you concretize, when you put into concrete the living spirit, what do you do to the living spirit? You kill it. You kill it. You kill it. You see? And this is why locking down into any one belief system, any one religion, you kill the spirit. You kill the spirit. This is the heresy. This is the heresy of Zen. You see? It's beautiful. It wakes people up. Next slide. Okay, continuing outward from center, we come to the black and white circle. You see it? The black and white band? Okay. This denotes the trap of dualism and the idea that life is only, is only what is within the contrasting polarities. So if you are caught in the contrasts, meaning you're caught in conflict, you see what happens. You will stay in conflict. You'll stay there because you've attached to sides. You've attached to form. You've attached to time. This kills your spirit. This kills your spirit. That's the vertical line. You are to transcend that. That's the horizontal line. You are to transcend that with the vertical. Do you see? And it is the metaphor that will take you there. Okay. The truth is that life, sacred geometry, and nature are one energy costumed in fields of natural law, mathematics, and coincidence, thus rendering a cunning illusion that they're separate. And right there, I am showing you clear as day the illusion. That's the illusion. That I just showed it to you perfectly. Here it is. The truth is that life, sacred geometry, and nature are one energy, one, costumed in fields of natural law, separation, mathematics, numbers, finite, and coincidence, that which you cannot define, thus rendering a cunning illusion that they're separate. That's how you get caught. That's how you get caught. Right there. That's how you get caught. And what you have to understand to not get caught is that life is flow. It is relative, right? And the whole idea is for you to remain relative to the truth. And when you tie into laws, meaning from the KM, when you tie into the religious ideas, you see, you lock yourself down. You're not flowing. You've reached the place. That's why when you wake up every morning, you're still a sinner. You're still a sinner. Even if you're saved, you're still a sinner. You're still following God. You wake up in Islam, you're still not Allah. You're still not there. You see? keeps you in the same place. And when you're 99, you're going to think the same thing about your spirit and about who you are as you are when you're 4, when you're indoctrinated into the West. The mythology is to free you from these things. It's to free you from the traps. It's not to capture you. And this shows you exactly why the Catholic Church did what it did. It took a mythology that was intending to release the individual, and it took that mythology and captured it. How did it capture it? It put the whole mythology into one form. What's the form, Chuck? Jesus, Allah, Yahweh. You see how that's inappropriate? The mythology is to free you from this. Continuing, the wise individual, here's the wise individual, sees past the costumes of separateness to the idea of a singular energy that is animating all of them. And experiencing this unifying principle called awakening dispels illusion. Here's the key. And thus, the anxieties created by separateness. How do we become anxious? Believing the world is separate. Believing there's such a thing as conflict when it's just contrast. You've bought the idea that the world is in conflict. It's not. It's contrasting the same energy, and it's simply learning to be appropriate in both. In both, you see? Okay. This is called liberation. Life is an excruciating experience of polarities filled with both challenges and glories, which render to the individual novel experiences that are unique to one's path. This is the truth in your life. This transmogrifying of raw energy from the sun, think about this. This is how you know you're in a wonder. Transmogrifying of raw energy from the sun into experience feeds the Akashic field with nutrients called memories, which eventually bear fruits in forms of tangible truth known as your life. What is kept at the Akashic field? Your life, all your memories. You see, and this is a gift. Your life is a gift to God in this sense. Isn't it amazing that you can develop this without any need for Christianity, Islam, or Judaism? You can develop this concept without any of that religious stuff. So dualism allows for this purpose. See, it allows for this purpose, and that's why it's important. But the idea is to not stay caught in the illusion of it, but to transcend it. This is called the experience of enlightenment, to transcend the trappings of dualism, so to experience oneness. Folks, this is what this logo, this image, is rendering to you. Just in that white circle, look at the lessons that are available to you. This is why mythologies were put into pictures, because pictures are worth 1,000 words. In life, as we learn to see past the black and white, we escape the anxiety of believing in their illusions. It is the one who can do this spontaneously that abdicates himself from material obsession. This is known as kenosis in the West and satori in the East. One abandons the throne of anxiety so to live in the rapture of liberation. Got it? Next slide. Once past the black and white, follow now. You've started at the center there at the yellow. You're now moving past the white circle. Once past the black and white dualistic sense, we experience the occulted sense. That's the hidden sense. We talk about that all the time here. The occulted sense. And this begins at the fractal, sacred geometry. Sacred geometry, an endless spinning number defined by a golden ratio, structures the universe and all of life in such a way that spirit, the noumena, remember from Kant, the noumena, the unknowable aspect, actually compresses into knowable matter. This presents as a universe dense with opportunity on all planes and in all levels. Moments of rapture, be they positive or negative, fill our memories with value, which ultimately transmogrify energy from the sun into living experiences called memories. These bear fruits called love, a sense that offers the experience of God, which cannot exist without our participation, as I mentioned earlier. This is why numbing with drugs, dependence, and addictions and beliefs is a bad idea. It obfuscates experience with stupor. Remember, it keeps you in a smaller world that you're in. You're ignorant. Awareness, the antithesis of stupor, evokes meaning and gives value to your life. In this sense, then, you are the master creator of your world based on your awareness. That's your responsibility of what has been occulted from you. You're it. In other words, you're it. You bear fruits that are unique to your choices and that which only you can create as a master creator, because that's what you are, my friend. There is your motivation. You see, you are a creative being. This is your motivation to create. The random colored parallelograms that you see in the logo, in the form, are unchartable moments of epiphany. That's why they're random. You can't chart them. They're moments that you didn't see coming. That's why they're an epiphany. You didn't plan it. It wasn't your goal. This is a great example of this is right here, right now, what's happened on this channel. It's an epiphanal thing. It's rapturous because I didn't plan any of it. You guys didn't plan any of it. It spontaneously came into being. Literally, there was not one board meeting. There wasn't one plan put into place. No goals, no telos. Just show up, participate, and look what has happened. You guys, me, this channel is a living testimony of the truth that I'm portraying to you guys, the option, the idea, the concept, the philosophy that I'm showing to you. You see, you're it. You bear fruits that are unique to your choices and that which only you can create as a master creator. There is your motivation, my friend. The random colored parallelograms are unchartable moments of epiphany, and the dark parallelograms are opportunities awaiting rapture. Do you see how this form that I've made renders so much thick, meaty, juicy truth? Think of all that each one of these icons within this logo represent. Deep and profound truth. You see, and this is something I've come up with. I've basically taken the ideas, the concepts that come out of alchemy, Rosicrucianism, ancient belief systems, ancient knowledge of the deeper senses. I've integrated those into the logo to show you the deeper sense. Okay, opportunities awaiting rapture. All of this is synchronized with the sacred geometry and resonation, which are attraction fields, folks. And this substantiates why we become what we believe. See? Okay. 2 more slides and we're done. And we're going to move into the lecture after I check in with chat. Working even further out, we come to the rainbow of circles. You see the little rainbows of circles representing the infinite number of universes that are all living portions of God manifesting in an infinite ocean of spiritual density called the multiverse or monad. Now, people have been asking me about spiritual density. And what I mean by that is this here. Last week, a lot of folks were saying, hey, Chuck, that doesn't make any sense because spirit doesn't have any matter to it. So how does it have any density? It's because we, the real world, now follow this. The real world is the spiritual world. This is not the real world in the sense of the entire world. This is a portion of the spiritual world, the 2D, the 3D animation that we're in now. This is a portion of the real world. You see? And so this is by being a portion, just as you're a portion of God, you are not, this moment is not the entirety. It is a portion of the entirety. It contains the entirety within it. Make no mistake, it's omniscient. But you see, that is outside the realm of cognizance. And that is what the spiritual density is about. The universe is filled with opportunity called monads, called the ether. And we see it forming in front of our eyes. This isn't crazy. We see galaxies forming in front of our eyes. We see supernovas happening. And this is the release of gas. These things recondense. They form into suns. They form into planets, and they orbit each other because of sacred geometry. The same idea as the funnel that forms in the water when you pull the drain. And when you got the same thing, when you got a massive drain in the universe called a black hole, it is sucking and it forms a funnel, and that creates density. It densifies what is already there. We are surrounded by density. That's called opportunity. Density is spirit. Matter is the effect. You see, reality is the illusion created by the intermingling of density and effect, spirit and matter. You see, in this planetary system, you are the outpouring of spirit and effect. This is novelty. And since nature is a curator of novelty, it's a novelty gardener, you see, you follow the principles of nature. You follow the principles of density of spirit. When you see this outside world, meaning this world outside the veil, past the veil, when you see that, you transcend. You transcend. And this is the density. This is the density compressing in your mind and becoming a new idea, a new reality that you can cognize. It's happening right now in your brain as you get these larger concepts. The exact same thing that forms the universe is the exact same thing that forms ideas in your mind. These are the same pattern. That's why you know it's truth. It's the same pattern repeating itself. And it's so powerful that the entire universe and everything in it forms to this sacred geometry, this sacred sense of everything. And that's what I'm pointing to in this slide. Where is it? Here, this one here. Where were we? Which are attraction fields, it's here. Okay. The density, called the multiverse or monad. Each universe offers its own wonders and possibility unique to itself, and therefore colored by realms of experiences. And it's kind of like the octopus who shows its emotions with color. You see, the universe shows its emotions with its different colors, activities, explosions, creations, destructions. You see, it shows you right there, it's an artist. You see? And it's just a matter of catching into this deeper sense. In the occultist sense, this renders the universe as a reflection of you in the conscious collective. There's your value. So you see, in the same way, each one of these dots is a universe that composes this dualistic reality, that fills this dualistic reality, and then some. You see that these represent, you are the same thing. You are a universe in the midst of the human collective, or you are a galaxy in the midst of the human collective. And because you are here, you bring balance that is necessary for the human collective. Do you see? These are the same patterns, self-organizing. Atoms, like planetary systems, are spheres of energy that compose matter, and our planetary system comprises spheres of energy that compose consciousness, just as a caterpillar composes a butterfly. You see, that's how you're a butterfly, because you come out of consciousness. It's the same pattern. All of these self-organizing spheres work together like harmonies in music, which crescendo into rapture, novelty, and truth. The fruits of love that nourish God, in the same way melodies in music nourish your mind. As above, so below. So just as our galaxy is an essential component to the balancing of the universe, our awareness is an essential component to the equating of our lives. You see, and we do this through mythology, because our lives don't fit into words. You do it through word pictures. You do it through concepts. You see, and this is how you bring about sibilance, and the mythology is the center fulcrum point of that. And that is why we are, as a society, in such a crisis right now. Because, like I said, the metaphors are breaking down. They're breaking down, and we have to find new metaphors. We have to find new mythologies that transcend the space that we're in, you see, that are relative. Finally, we see the Platonic solids and nature elements, which represent the living, self-organizing, manifesting field geometries and sensorial matrix springing from the ether. It is from these Platonic geometries and natural field orders of fire, earth, water, air, and ether, that we can experience the wonder. This is why life is magical, because it is composed of wonders. You see, these wonders, these wondrous spinning geometries and natural elements ensure ensure sensorial. Let me read this again, it's so important. These wondrous spinning geometries and natural elements ensure sensorial integrity, so our experience of God is authentic, spontaneous, and truth rendering. I really hope you guys get the heaviness of that statement. It is very important that you get that, the heaviness of that statement. Universes are identifying fields, resonant consciousness that renders God and knowingness. Fields of energy like oxygen both burn and grow us equally. And it is through this calcinating process the human life self-organizes into mentalism, vibration, polarity, correspondence, rhythm, cause, and effect, whose fruits are experiences to God. Crests and troughs of waves reflect nature's pattern dynamisms, and the idea is not to be caught in a standing wave of sensoria, but to experience all the waves without attaching to any, meaning do not get addicted to anything. This is the trick that dispels anxiety. It is a central principle in Zen called intention without intention, and I have a story for you, and then we're going to go to chat. So one of the central principles in Zen is this idea called intention without intention. In other words, how do I have intention in life but not have intention? One great example before I tell the story is, again, this site. I had no intention in what I was doing, but I was intentional in what I wanted. Do you see? I didn't intend for this to happen. I didn't expect it to. I didn't have any idea it would. But my intention was pure in the sense of I love the public. I love people who are lost because I love being a light to them. That's my intention. And then when it manifested, when I put action, when I participated in, remember I said participation is key. I threw myself in, risking being ostracized, risking being mocked by the public, risking my integrity by throwing these very wild ideas into the world. You see, risk. And then proportionally what happens? Nature returns that proportion. And what has happened? What has happened? The chat has happened. The Zoom meetings are happening. It's like getting together with family. I mean, it was amazing. This has all happened spontaneously. There was no intention. Intention without intention. Do you see it? Now I'm going to give you a story, and it's going to be so clear. You'll get one of the deepest principles that is available in Zen in literally a matter of 5 minutes. Okay, so there's this farmer who's a chicken farmer. And he's been a chicken farmer for 20 years. And so he's got this farm, and there's a fox that has come around in the last few months, and it's attacking and it's getting to his chickens. And he's really getting frustrated. So he starts setting traps for this fox. So he digs the hole, you know, like the standard traps that they have for fox, a little paw trap you hide in the ground, all different types of ways. The loop trap where they have to walk to the meat and they put their paw, their neck in the loop, it captures them. You know, he's trying them all, and he can't catch him. And the fox is continuing to get to his chickens. I mean, he's still eating a chicken a day, and this has been going on for months. So the farmer is infuriated. And so one afternoon, after he just discovered another dead carcass, he had absolutely had it. And so he went to his shed and he got an axe, and he began to grind it on the axe wheel. And while he's grinding that axe on the axe wheel, he's thinking, I'm going to cut that thing's head off. I'm going to go after, I'm going to destroy that fox. I'm going to get him. So he has all this intention that he's putting into this axe that he has, right? And it's the same intention that he had when he was setting the traps. But there's a key difference. There's a key difference that you're going to have to pick up on. Okay. So while this is going on, the fox, who's been watching the farmer to figure out the traps and to see how to avoid everything, is sitting on the side of the fence staring at him as he's talking under his mouth, and he's just angry. Okay. And so finally, as the farmer lifts the blade up and he's looking at it to see how sharp it is, he looks over and he sees the fox. And he thinks to himself, okay, I see that little rascal. I'm going to go and I'm going to get him right now. And so he sees the fox kind of walking. And as the fox is walking towards the barn, the farmer knows he's going to get in that coop. And so the fox is walking over towards the coop door and the farmer takes off after him. So the fox runs into the coop and the farmer is enraged. And so he runs into the coop and he takes his axe and he throws it with all his might right at the fox. The fox sees the axe, jumps out of the way, and the farmer kills another one of his chickens. And this gets him even more enraged. So he screams and he runs after the fox, grabs the axe, runs outside the coop, and the fox has disappeared. He can't see him anymore. He doesn't know where to run to catch him. And so he in his fury, he goes back to the grinding wheel and he thinks, okay, maybe if I do this again, it will come back. And so he sits there and he's grinding his wheel, and he never sees the fox. It's not coming back. And so finally he stops the wheel. He's had it. And he looks around and he doesn't see the fox anywhere. And he's so mad because he wanted to run after it. So he takes his axe and without realizing he's holding the opposite end, meaning the sharp end is pointing that way. The blunt end is pointing on the front of his hand where it's going to land. So he doesn't realize that when he hits the stump that he's going to exert all his anger on, it's going to cause a problem. So he takes his axe and with all of his might, he slams it in frustration at the stump where he's grinding this wheel, and the axe breaks. Meanwhile, the farmer doesn't know that the fox has actually been watching the whole time. He's just been hiding, and the fox is seeing this go down, and the fox is enthralled. The fox is like, holy smokes, like this guy is completely losing it. And when he hits the farmer, when that axe end hits the stump, it breaks. The axe breaks unexpectedly. And the head flies off and it kills the fox. Intention without intention. Why did the fox die? Because the farmer wasn't intending, meaning he wasn't setting up tracks. The fox wasn't able to see what he was doing, meaning it wasn't even on the farmer's mind that he was going to kill him with this axe. He never even thought of it. But yet it was his intention. It was his intention to kill the fox that caused the anger, that caused the rage, that gave him the strength to slam that head hard enough to break the end of the axe off that killed the fox. And it's because the farmer didn't intend in that moment to kill the fox that he got him. And this is one of the deepest principles of Zen. How do I become compassionate without intending to be compassionate? You see? How do I love others without having to be told to love others, but have it naturally come out of me? You see? No plan. No, like, okay, this is how I'm going to go to this person and talk to them and figure out how to, quote unquote, lead them one way or another. You see, that's planning. The way of Zen works in the opposite way because you're in a wonder. A wonder cannot be planned. The way you are wise in a wonder is you are not planned. You are not intending everything by giving the game away. Like he said last week in the example, you don't tell the devil you're going to stop drinking, because then you're going to face all the repercussions of that idea, which is 365 drinkless days. You see, and that breaks you down on day 3, because you can't imagine I've got another 363 days to go, 62 days to go. You see, and that breaks you. But you see, if you approach it like, I don't know if I'm going to quit or not. I'm not sure, but today I'm not going to drink. Maybe tomorrow, but not today. And here again, you see how that might work for some people and it might not work for others. Might work and not work for folks. You see, it's a way. It's a way. And it's a different approach than the individual who is segmented into laws, because laws in many ways are anti-human because they're straight and narrow. And the human being is curvy. Your life is curvy. You live in a curvy universe, a curvy nature. You see, and so you're already in many ways going against the flow when you try to set up all these plans in straight lines. Because I promise you, if I'd have tried to plan this channel, it wouldn't have worked. It would have been like my Patreon. It would have died. And it's the same thing. That farmer would have never killed that fox if he'd have turned around and aimed and threw it at it. He can only get the fox when he hasn't any intention of killing the fox. He's just living his life freely, allowing the emotions to flow, allowing your life to flow. Do you see the lesson? Okay. That is what this is pointing towards. This logo is pointing towards intention without intention, as above, so below, seeing through the veil, seeing the oneness in all things, noticing that sacred geometry, a set of lines fits into a curvy world with spirals. And this logo renders this to you, this deeper sense. Okay, and so the reason why I read all that stuff was not only to inform you of why I did the logo that way, but to give you a really tangible, evidential way to see the deeper sense in things, to see this form as a reflection, a becoming of the deeper self-organizing principle of nature. Does that make sense? Okay, let's go to chat and say hello to everybody. It's been too long. Okay, let me go to the bottom here and see if anybody's got any questions. Hello, Larry, Melissa, Johnny, Twilight Mist. Hello. A number of y'all were at the meeting. Unbelievable. On Thursday night. And I love it. You guys are all having these conversations. This is fantastic. I can see all your conversations. This is great. Yeah. This is great. If you have any questions, what is this? If you have any questions, write them in caps. What you got to say here, Tom? The core of my being resonated with Chuck's take on life in this nature realm. 'Twas a definite attraction to his research, and we had identical religious raisings. Isn't that interesting, Tom? Isn't that interesting? It really is interesting. Hi, Sassy. Yeah, Stacy was a gamer. Love Stacy. She showed up, man. 3 a.m. Gamer, man. All in. Max, I don't know how you didn't get your email. I'm sorry you didn't. I thought I had right now I've got 70 emails. Send it to me. My email is contactchuckjr@yahoo.com. I'm actually really bummed, Max, that you didn't get that. So please make sure you email me so that I can get you on the list. Hello, Halo, Halo. Hi, Chuck. Sorry I focused on the urine therapy during the Zoom. That's there. Don't apologize. It was great. I just think your cancer testimony is so powerful. It can give hope to people. Thank you, friend. The swag is the fruits of the earth. Yes. That's what I hope so. I hope people like it. And I'll give an update with the swag here at the end of the show when we decide on when we're going to meet next for Zoom. Okay. No, I haven't looked into that yet, James. I haven't. It looks like you guys are good. It looks like you're good. Thanks, Melissa, for showing up. Thank you for showing up. Appreciate it so much. Okay, here we go. I'll answer this. Here we go. Does the ether and other galaxies coexist? Yes. How can one make those concepts work together? Am I stuck in the grit? You're a bit stuck in the grit, but the point is that, yes, there's a coexistence. There's a coexistence. But remember, a number of the other layers, probably all of them, aren't concerned with time. So it's a different thing there. You know, they're stacked one on top of that. That's why you can get some 4D reality, principal realities. You can grasp them as a 3D creature. So you can grasp things like traveling through time, traveling back in time. You can grasp this kind of idea. You can see the effect that it has. You see, and this is moving into a higher and deeper state here. Chuck, in my opinion, your intentions were always set for these times. You just didn't focus on the details. Yeah, it's King, really good statement. It's a really tough concept to get, intention without intention. It's a tough concept to get, but with these little stories, you can begin to get a picture. You can begin to get a picture. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's not. We had an amazing talk. Amanda, but yes, and I'm a big fan of Amanda. If she's the doctor that I'm thinking of, she's a naturopathic doctor. She's really great. She's the one actually who originally mentioned to me many, many years ago to try urine therapy, and I couldn't bring myself to it, but I'm there now. I'll do anything at this point. This is an interesting thing here. Thanks for posting this. My dad had us put our urine on our skin when we had zits as teens. What a brilliant idea. It was so embarrassing, but it worked. We had clean diets from an Indian mom until we didn't. Yeah. You see, okay, James, I want to talk to you about that. I don't think that the body is just clothes we wear, but the prison to hold us here until it dies. You see, okay, James, try and grasp this, my friend. The earth is not a prison. The earth is a paradise, James. Okay? It's the KM, the negative programming, the poisonous programming that cause our minds to go psychopathic and get ideas like this wonder and paradise that we're in is a purgatory. This is why I don't like Gnosticism, because Gnosticism considers everything to be made by the demiurge, a demon. And it's really hard to have a positive, non-nihilistic thought about yourself and the world. It's really hard to not have that when you think you came from a demon. You see? And so, in my opinion, it's a much more efficacious idea psychologically to not subscribe, to not believe in the idea that you're fallen, the world is fallen, everything needs to be saved. You see, to get out of that maxim, to get out of that idea. Okay? Okay. That's why I wanted to say that, so that just so that you know, yes, you can absolutely see this as a dualistic prison and we're trapped and we can't get out. And it's true, we can't get out. When you die, you come right back. I get it. I get it. So it's really easy to have a negative perspective of that when you talk about it. And my point here is it's real important for us as a collective to have positive energy, because what we think and believe acts as an attraction field. And if you think and believe negatively, which is what we've been programmed to do, you see, you bring about negativity. You attract a negative, nihilistic world. You attract a judging, harsh God, right? Who's going to thump you on the head because you're misbehaving. You see, you've missed the whole point with that kind of idea. It's not tit for tat here. That's not how it works. It's both and you gel into that. And when you realize how beautiful that expression is, you see the world as a wonder, not as a purgatory. It's a mindset thing. And what we've got to do here in the Great Awakening is we have to change our minds. Yeah? We have to change our minds. Yes, it's a garden. That's right. That's right, Max. It's a garden. Yeah, this here. Part of the freedom given to us in this realm, High Twilight Mist, is to be able to perceive and experience the realm in a very harsh and dark way, which is necessary. How do I know light without darkness? How do I see the stars without darkness? Right? How do I know in without out? How do I know I'm up or something is up if there's no down? How do I know where the top of the mountain is without knowing where the bottom of the mountain is? How do I find the top without the bottom? How do I find the bottom out? You see, it's necessary and it's important. Okay. But you don't attach to it. It's like sugar. Well, that's not a good idea. It's like food. It's necessary, but don't overeat. If you eat all the time, you're going to get sick. You're going to get obese. And that's going to take away your energy. But if you eat appropriately, you'll have tons of energy, tons of nutrients, and your immune system will be kicking. You can fight disease. It's a balance. Same pattern. Same thing with existence, with life. You must have evil to know good. You must have good to know evil. Both of these things coexist. They are both necessary in equal proportions for there to be balance. And see, our earth has been put into intentional misbalance, which is why it's so effed up. It's been intentionally put into this kind of off-centered balance. And that's why all of the communities, all the people believe the egregores. And one of the egregores is you're dirty. Another egregore is you bring evil into the world. You're an evil creature. You need to be forgiven. These are egregores. They're short-sighted musings of the world. Nothing more. Short-sighted musings. Nothing more. So, Tom, 3i Atlas update. I mean, at this point, I don't think any person can possibly know what is actually going on unless you have some kind of telescope that can see that thing firsthand. Because there's so much propaganda with it. I mean, it's becoming sickening now. There's no doubt that it has alignment with all kinds of astrology. There's no doubt that its trajectory is uncanny. There's no doubt that it's conveying properties of non-physics that don't make any sense. There's no doubt in my mind that is absolutely enormous, which goes against the entire field of probability when it comes from something that's coming from billions of miles away. When it's that big, it doesn't make it this far. It breaks up from the torsions and all that goes on in interstellar space. My hope, Tom, here's my hope, man, okay? This is what I hope. I don't know if it will happen, but I hope it will happen. I'm hoping for a great solar flash. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a massive Schumann resonance increase to bring everyone into a DMT state for about 2 days. That's what I'm hoping for. Mass psychological changeover to where people not only don't, but can't go back to the old way. Sort of the same problem I had when I saw this other side and I was forced to leave the world that I was in. This is what I'm hoping happens. That people are literally forced through their own awareness out of the matrix. So my hope is that at some point when it's near the sun right now and as it's traveling away from the sun and as we come into better and better view of it through December, I'm hoping that there's some kind of flash. Because I see how that technologically would be very good at changing the populace without wiping the populace out. There definitely will be death and carnage, no doubt about it, but you will still have a society at the other end of that catastrophe. You still will be able to operate and function. Folks, if you think about it, it would not take long for basically 95% of all the population to be dead without any nuclear war. Just cut off all their supply lines, cut off all their access to food, to water, to basically being able to have the sustenance to live. That society will be gone pretty quick. It doesn't take long. And so that's why my thought that there isn't going to be a great catastrophe physiologically is because it would so destroy the society. You would basically have nothing left. And all you would have would be the few that had the money and wherewithal to be able to build a big enough cavern to survive for years on end to be able to then emerge at the other end on that, which isn't going to be a very good life, if you ask me. And so I just don't fall into that realm. And that's why I think it's important for us to attract a higher thought. And the higher thought is that, yes, not denying catastrophe. Absolutely, we're going to have one, most likely. Yeah. But at the same time, realizing it's not a catastrophe that ends the human race. It's a catastrophe that culls out the human race, that culls out the portions of the human race that keep it from transcending. Like it's hard to fly like an eagle when you're, it's hard to soar like an eagle when you're flying with turkeys. You know what I'm saying? And so it's the same kind of idea in society. And if you have a whole conglomerate of people who are pro-communism, who are pro-controlling everything, who are pro-war, who are pro-continuing the way things have always been, it's like having a rotten apple in the bunch. I mean, the whole bunch is going to go rotten a lot faster because one of them's rotten. It's going to cause that rot to fester. And it's the same thing when you have a propagandistic society and globalists that are dumping millions and hundreds of millions into keeping the populace suppressed. You see, that society will never transcend. It's like trying to have fresh apples when you're pulling them from a rotten case, man. And this is why I don't subscribe to the idea that the society will be wiped out, because you're back to the Stone Age at that point, and it's going to do the same thing over again. And there's nothing novel about that. What is novel about another world catastrophe? Tell me something novel about that. We've had them. We've had them. And what does nature, as a gardener, as the gardener, what does it garden? Novelty, new expression, the unexpected, spontaneity. And there's nothing novel. There's no new expression available in just another catastrophe that wipes the globe out. And if you subscribe to an idea that there's an underlying principle below all things, which is self-organizing and bringing more and more and greater complexity about, if you subscribe to that idea, how can you subscribe to the nihilist notion that everybody's going to be wiped out? Because that doesn't follow the principle of development. Because you're wiping it all out. The society's done if that happens. And that's not what nature builds upon. Nature builds upon complexity. And yes, destruction is a part of that process, but it's a part of the growing process. It doesn't end the process. And if you wipe out 99% of the population, you have ended the human race population. Something's going to happen to them, and they're not going to be what we are now. You see? And so I think that the Three-Eye Atlas ties into that possibly. Because scientifically, you can make a lot of sense out of some type of cosmic flash with the basic principles that we know. It doesn't take a lot of, in other words, it doesn't take a lot of woo-woo to get the idea that there's a magnetic string or a magnetic pull that this thing is generating that eventually may pop, an electromagnetism attachment that eventually may pop, and that pop, that release would fire a CME. In the same way, did you guys see the video of the meteor or whatever it was that crashed into the sun, and then there was this enormous CME that came out the other side? Did you see that? And did you notice that when the Atlas was traveling around to perihelion, did you guys see the halo CME that the Earth exploded, and like they were just going off like fireworks from this thing? It's attracting them. It's causing it. And so my hope is that it attracts new consciousness. That's my hope. That's my thought on that, Tom. Okay, let's start on the lesson tonight. It looks like we're ready to go. Are you guys ready? Okay, we are in Zen week 2. Now, this kicks off pretty quick, guys. Have your thinking caps on. We are deep diving into this. So, first page here. Familiar concepts of space, time and motion of nature and natural law, of history and of social change and of human personality itself have dissolved. How relevant is this book? What did I just say to you guys? Our reality is dissolving, and we find ourselves adrift without landmarks in a universe which more and more resembles the Buddhist principle of the great void. In other words, the great unknown. You know, it's that old adage, the more I learn, the more I realize how little I know. It's the same idea with the universe. The various wisdoms of the West, religious, philosophical, and scientific, do not offer much guidance to the art of living in such a universe. This is the mythology I'm talking about. And we find the prospects of making our way in so trackless an ocean of relativity rather frightening. Do we not? Is awakening not frightening? Is awakening not frightening? It certainly is. For we are used to absolutes, to firm principles and laws to which we can cling for spiritual and psychological security. That's what makes you a nutcase, is when you cling. This is why I think there is so much interest in a culturally productive way of life, which for some 1,500 years has felt thoroughly at home in the void, and which not only feels no terror for it, but rather a positive delight. This is the way of Zen. To use its own words, the situation of Zen has always been, now follow, above, not a tile to cover the head, below, not an inch of ground for the foot. Now let's look at this. Such language should not actually be so unfamiliar to us. Were we truly prepared to accept the meaning of the foxes have holes and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head? I'm going to elucidate that tonight. I am not in favor of importing Zen from the Far East, for it has become deeply involved with cultural institutions which are quite foreign to us. But there is no doubt that there are things which we can learn or unlearn from it and apply in our own way. It has the special merit of a mode expressing itself which is as intelligible or perhaps as baffling to the intellectual as to the illiterate, offering possibilities of communication which we have not explored. It has a directness, a verve, a humor, and a sense of both beauty and nonsense at once, exasperating and delightful. But above all, it has a way of being able to turn one's mind inside out. Have you noticed that's what's been happening? And dissolving what seem to be the most oppressive human problems into the question like, why is a mouse when it spins? At its heart, there is a strong but completely unsentimental compassion. That's a nice way to put it. A completely unsentimental compassion for human beings suffering and perishing from their very attempts to save themselves. I have told my wife so many times, I am not a sentimental person. I'm not a grabby, clutchy person. I enjoy the moment when it happens, and I let it go when it's over. And I don't sit around looking through my high school yearbook, remembering all the things I wish I would have done or whatever like that. I don't have regret like that. I don't have thoughts of needing to go back. There's always this sense of what is coming is going to be of such greater value than what has been in the sense of experience, because every experience you have builds on your other experiences. So the experience you're at now is richer because of your past experiences, which didn't have the experience you're having now, you see? And so it's important to realize this in developing appreciation for life. The Zen phrase, above not a tile to cover the head, below not an inch of ground for the foot. This is a classic Zen adage, evoking the utter rootlessness and exposure of the human condition. Now you follow that? There's your unsentimental. The rootlessness and exposure of the human condition, above not a tile, implies, this is what Zen is saying, there's no shelter or conceptual roof, no fixed ideologies, gods, or certainties to protect from life's vastness. Zen is saying there's no protection. It's risky. Below not an inch of ground means no solid foundation, no stable self, laws, or ground to stand on. Do you realize what Zen is saying here? It is a metaphor for the human condition in the great void, shunyata, emptiness. Follow, existence is an impermanent, interdependent flux without inherent essence. Follow, essence is teased, not fixed. This expresses the double slit experiment that I explained. Put your attention on it, the waveform is destroyed. It drops out, and it transforms into particles, meaning the electrons, meaning your consciousness is doing this, is self-organizing nature right in front of your eyes, you see? And this means that there is an impermanence that underlies the permanence, you see, because when you put your eyes on it, you put it into a permanence. But when you take your eyes away, it falls into an impermanence, meaning waves. Now you see it, now you don't. Do you see how what Zen is saying here in that there's no guarantees, friend? You are in a wonder. Stop trying to find the answers. Stop trying to find the absolutes. You're only frustrating yourself. You are much better off aligning with the flow, aligning with the fact that everything's balanced. It's not in battle with each other. It's just expressing itself. And this brings about peace because you don't see the world and you're not looking for the world to be finite, exact, absolute. So that, hey, if I do this experiment, like science thinks, if I do this experiment, I can make nature keep repeating itself. You see, and this isn't the way to understanding nature. The way to understanding nature is finding the patterns, it repeating itself in patterns, but in diverse ways, not in always the same way. And this will also tell you that this is why we're not in a situation of going back to catastrophe. The dissolvement of society has already happened. And so since nature garners and gardens novelty, right, there is your faith that we're not entering into another cataclysm. You see, because that doesn't follow the principles of nature. A new pattern, a new catastrophe. Like I said last week, the catastrophe's here. It's not a physiological catastrophe, though that might be part of it. It's not going to wipe us out in that way. It's going to wipe us out here. Well, folks, that's an entirely different type of catastrophe, and that's exactly the kind of thing that nature likes. Totally the same catastrophe in the sense of everything dissolves, but not in the physiological sense, but in the spiritual sense. This gives substance to this idea that we're not headed. Did you guys lose me? I hope I'm still here in comments. Please tell me if you guys just lost me. Are you still there? Because my screen just blinked. Someone in comments tell me that you're here. Everything okay? Can you see me? I hear you. Okay. Can you see me? You're back. Okay. Sorry. I knew something happened there. Okay. All good. Okay. Here we go. Let's go back to media assets. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Moving on now. All right. In Zen, this isn't despair, but satori, awakening, spontaneous awakening. You see, it's a totally different perspective of the same thing. This is to realize the ego's affinity for illusions, so to dissolve in boundless reality, like a wave merging with the ocean. Watts deploys this opening salvo to illustrate Zen's positive delight, meaning taking joy in the wonder, taking joy in the non-absolute, taking joy in the spontaneity. You see, it's a totally different thing. The person who's looking for the direct answer, the direct way, you see, they just put themselves into anxiety. So it's a better idea to follow the path that you have, that you're on right now, without expecting anything of it, without trying to find the end of it. It's a journey. Stop looking for the exit when you die or how you'll die or whatever. You're on a journey. Be here now. Be right in the moment now. And this is what Zen implores. This is to realize, all right, I read that, Zen's positive delight in the void to inspire, contrasting with the West's distaste for the unknown. And this ties into a section of my book here in Elucidating Christianity, page 35, when we talk about the space of not knowing the results, or what will happen next is where thrills and fulfilling satisfaction rests. This is straight out of my book, page 35. Authentic life taken at face value and multiplied over time is where the real juice is found. That's why the driver is in the car risking his life. He is seeking the feeling of being alive, as we mentioned earlier, and there is no alternative to risk and trust. In a very real sense, then, the racetrack becomes an altar of sacrifice, and the car his carriage to rapture. What is being sacrificed? Consider this. What is being sacrificed? The mind. Safety, security, sensibility. What do you see happening right now, folks? What is being sacrificed? In our minds, safety, security, and sensibility. All the guarantees humans depend on to find peace. See, we were taught to find peace through safety, security, and sensibility. You see, we were led down the wrong path. We were led down the path and the idea of guarantees. There's no guarantee in a wonder. You see? And what is religion about? It's about guaranteeing your safety, about guaranteeing you answers, about guaranteeing it's giving you the truth. You see, it's self-consumed. Religions self-consume themselves. All the guarantees humans depend upon to find release or peace do not lead to peace. They lead to anxiety. Peace is already within the mystery we are, is it not? You already have peace within you. It's about evoking it. And it is release which accesses it. Faith is the act of releasing from life. Belief is the act of holding to life. You see? Release. Letting go. Stop demanding answers. Stop demanding a plan. Heck, in many ways, stop planning your life. Does your life ever go the way you planned it? So if you think I'm crazy, like, oh, Chuck, you're an idiot for thinking that. You got to have goals. You got to, no, you don't. Have your goals worked out? Have your plans worked out the way you originally thought? Very rarely. Very rarely. The good part about them is that they get you to participate. That's fantastic. But the problem is your intention is out because you don't realize the world works in a little different way than the way we were taught in the West. It's an attraction field. You act as an attractor. What what you want, you get your resonation. You raise your vibration to match it, to match that what you want. That being what you want, you match it. Here's a great example. I wanted, for my channel, I wanted a With It chat room with people who were open-minded, with people who were dedicated to the betterment of humanity. That was when I walked into it, I was like, that's what I really want. I want to be that, to attract that. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do, or I've done, or whatever you want to call it, because none of this is trying. But what I have done in regards to this channel is just show up, have the information, and share. And the intention of when you put that information together, and when you were, meaning me, when I was setting all this up in the sense of showing up and being there, you see what happened. That which I could have never intentioned. That's a bigger thing. This thing has become bigger than I ever imagined. Do you see? And that all comes out of non-intention. And this is what Zen is attempting to render to us. Okay. Next slide. Big pro tip. This is the same page. No need to read again. Big pro tip. Watts motivates readers to embrace uncertainty as liberating, not terrifying. Not terrifying. This aligns with the role of the jester, using vivid, shocking imagery to provoke insight, be it hilarious, devastating, or better yet, both. This also echoes the Zen practice of the koan, sudden realization via ludicrous questions and stories. And that's what I tried to render to you with the story of the farmer and the fox. It's a ludicrous story. It's crazy, but there's actually some sense to it. And you can see that deeper sense in hearing the story. It's worth 1,000 words. Watts here is foreshadowing the book's structure, rendering historical roots like Taoism's flow and Buddhism's no self, leading to Zen practice that is designed to cultivate freedom. How does it cultivate freedom? By releasing from anxiety-generating illusions like safety in a wonder, security in limitless possibility, or sensibility in a universe that cannot be made sense of. See the logic behind this? There's no safety in a wonder. There's no security in limitless possibility. There's no sense in a universe that can't be made sense of in a wonder. That's why it's a wonder, because you can't make sense of it. So if you freely admit, yes, the universe is a wonder, then why are you trying to make sense of it? Why are you trying to square it out? Why are you trying to put in straight lines? It's a wonder. Let it be a wonder. It's like going to the artist who's just finished a painting and said, hey, you know what? You used the wrong red right there. And you know what? That doesn't really look like the right type of person. And you know what? Your theme is all, it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And it's the same thing with nature. It's like, okay, this is nature. This is what created you. This is God. And nature, this is why we were here. This is why we came about. And we're going to be saved from nature because this is a big doom situation. We're all screwed and we're all dirty. It's like nature's going, as the artist, what are you doing? What are you doing? You are destroying this paradise. You are calling this paradise a purgatory. What are you doing? What are you doing? You see, life is art. It's music. Treat it as such. Treat it as such. Give it the honor and glory of releasing it. How do I love my spouse the most? Releasing them. I show them the most hate when I try to make them like me, think like me, act like me, talk like me. That's a tyrant. And any of you that are married or have a partner know that. You know that. It's obvious. And so you have to ask the question, why do we do that with nature? Why do we confine nature with rules, regulations? You see, principles. It's not straight lines. Stop trying to make it into straight lines. What is the void according to Watts? The void here is the sense of Buddhism's shunyata, emptiness of fixed forms. Key, not nothingness, but potentiality. The phrase, above not a tile to cover the head, below not an inch of ground for the foot, embodies living at home in the void, without tiles. Those are dualistic projections of protection, of even sensing the need for tiles, you see? Even having the need to think that you need tiles. You see, you've missed the point already. Release yourself. Without tiles or ground. What is ground? Ego moorings, the idealisms we project to pretend we are safe, but we are built to flow like a spirit, effortlessly, as in Wu Wei. Risk, then, is a fuel from the Zen perspective. Did you ever think about that? Risk is a fuel in Zen, and that should make total sense to you. Watts ties this to Einstein's Western relativity, suggesting Zen offers a joyful navigation tool, dissolving fear with an ever-expanding awareness. You see, and I just realized I didn't read the bottom part of the page. Let's do that real quick. Such language should not actually be so unfamiliar to us. Were we truly prepared to accept the meaning? I did read this. Sorry. A lot going through my head right now. Okay, so what he's saying here with Einstein's relativity and Zen, he's saying that these are tools. Okay? In the same way Einstein's relativity is a tool for materialism, okay? Zen Buddhism is a tool for spirituality. It's not the spirituality. It's a tool for unlocking, for unharnessing spirituality. In the same way that Einstein's physics can help you unlock some of the secrets, some of the behaviors you see in the universe that don't make any sense. Is it the end all be all? No, far from it. Is Zen the end all be all of spirit? No, far from it. Far from it. You see, and so this is why you don't get attached. They're tools. They're tools to use. You don't carry around a screwdriver everywhere you go. It's a tool to use when you need it, but you don't carry it around everywhere you go. You see, and this is why you don't want to have a belief system, because you carry it around everywhere you go inappropriately. Now, here's the pipe smoking moment tonight. The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. Okay, this is a direct quote from Matthew 8:20. Now follow this, folks, where Jesus responds to a would-be follower, highlighting the inerrant wandering, unsecured life of spiritual pursuit. I mean, is it not? Foxes have holes, a den, a place of safety, and birds have nests, again, a place of safety. Contrast animal instincts for shelter with the human being who lacks even basic security. You see, you are relating to animal instincts. Here's the key. You are relating to animal instincts when you are seeking security. You are relating to the bottom three chakra. In other words, you're off the track. You're missing the mark. Do you see? Okay. You don't want to align your life to animal instincts. This is not advocacy for poverty. It is a metaphor for detachment, and there's the detachment. Do not attach to these animal instincts. True freedom requires renouncing worldly anchors. Those are beliefs. Releasing illusions of security. Those are the animal instincts. And embracing the vulnerability in divine flow. That's where your growth is. You see, this is where true freedom is found. Renouncing worldly anchors. Releasing illusions of security, and embracing the vulnerability in divine flow. In Christian mysticism, which Watts knew from his theological studies, this points to kenosis. Remember, the act of self-emptying into God. What is that? What is that activity? No mind. Kenosis is the act of no mind. And what do we see here? Paralleling the Buddhist self, no self, anatta. These are equivalent metaphors, friend. You see the no mind and the no self. Where do I derive my idea of the self? In the mind. What is the self? An illusion of the mind. What is the mind? An illusion. You see, you're caught. You're caught. And the idea is not to align to these animal instincts for shelter, for safety, anchors, and answers. These only lead to anxiety because you are in a wonder. You are in a wonder. There is no such thing as finite. Doesn't exist. Look, the closer they get to atoms, what do they find? More and more space. between everything. In other words, more and more emptiness the closer you get. The further out in the universe you look, the more and more empty. It's like the more expanding it gets. You're not going to find finite here, friend. So you are causing your own anxiety when you attempt to find the finite, determine the finite, get that answer. I want my security. You see, this is the anxious individual. The individual that is seeking security and wanting security will never have it, because you don't find security looking for it in the same way you don't find God, or you don't find your glasses while looking for them. Sorry, you don't find your glasses when you're wearing them and you're looking for them. It's the same idea. You're trying to find something that isn't there. It isn't there. You will not find God through glasses. That's not how you're going to find God. You're going to find God in the deeper principle, past the pictures, past the words. This is what Zen is pointing you towards here. No mind. No mind. Continuing. By juxtaposing the biblical statement with a Zen saying, Watts instantly demystifies Eastern ideas like a magician who finally renders the mechanics of his trick by showing these seemingly dichotomous concepts are not actually difficult to see for Westerners when placed into proper context. In other words, he's giving the game away. By embracing wonder, you give the game away. Because the whole idea of what's happening on this planet is to lock you into history, lock you in and concretize you. Lock you into a singular identity. Lock the world into a singular perspective. You see, the world works to do this to you, you see. And so the appropriate way to dispel the community is like what Watts is doing. Embrace the wonder. Embrace the insecurity. Embrace that. That is what life is. It is an insecure wonder. Be here now, be in it, participate, and that requires risk. Be vulnerable, be transparent, and you will be able to navigate the space. The more clothing you put on, the more ideas, meaning the more beliefs that you take on and secure around yourself, you see, the more blind you become, the more lost you become, the more heavy you become. Because you're draping yourself with all these robes of belief, and they hinder your movement. And all the cloaks and all the hoods on them hinder your sight. Keep it compressed into just what the hood will show you, what the cloak will show you. And I'm using the cloak as a belief metaphor. It will only show you so much world. I think you guys get the concept. Okay. He bridges traditions by appealing to Christian-influenced readers to see Zen's void as akin to Jesus's appeal to trust in the unknown, faith. This is why you don't want belief. You want to live a life by faith. This motivates intellectual openness, countering exoticism. Zen isn't alien, but a universal way of liberation from attachment. He subtly critiques institutional religion by suggesting rejection of dogmatic rat's nests and urging direct experience. The point is made. The point is made. The Zen riddle. Zen is a way of being able to turn one's mind inside out and dissolving what seem to be the most oppressive human problems into questions like, why is a mouse when it spins? Okay, Chuck, what does it mean? Why is a mouse when it spins? Let's find out. This describes Zen's paradoxical method. Koans and riddles that turn one's mind inside out, like the story I started with, intention without intention, by exposing logical absurdities which lead to ego disillusion, meaning you're not what you think you are. Key, not ego death, ego disillusion. That's the key differentiation there. You don't want to kill your ego, you want to dissolve it. Big difference. The example riddle, why is a mouse when it spins, is nonsensical. Defying rational analysis. My friend, what is life? There's the key. I just gave it to you. There's the key to understanding. It's nonsensical. It's nonsensical right there. Why is a mouse when it spins is the perfect adage for life. It's a nonsensical. It defies rational analysis. It's a wonder. And there's your key. The absurdity renders the ridiculousness, here's the deeper insight, of carrying anxieties in the world, like suffering and death, and by revealing them as mind-constructed illusions built on words. You ever thought about that? It is no different than chasing one's own tail. Do you see? The absurdity renders the ridiculousness of carrying anxiety. Why are you carrying anxieties? Because your mind is filled with words that have been put into it. Words like answers, telling you that you have an answer, telling you this is what you are, telling you what your identity is, telling you who to worship, what God to worship. And these are all just words. They're words. And the Zen Buddhist is saying, why are you getting caught up in all those words? The world is not composed of words. The world is not words. It's not words. It's past words. It's in fact past what you see. So why are you allowing yourself to become anxious by putting these words into your head to force you into an anxious state, or to try to find that state outside yourself as though that will bring you some kind of relief? This is what Zen is pointing towards here in this little riddle here. Many respond, and this obviously is a common response: BS, man. My mental anguish is real. I feel it. My conditioning is impossible. My anxiousness is real, Chuck, and it hurts. Okay? Let's consider this idea together. This is one of the greatest quotes of all time by Joseph Campbell. This world, with all its ills, with all its horrors, with all its sorrows, with all its stupidities, is the golden lotus world right now as it is. And if you cannot see it as such, this is not the world's fault. What must be corrected is not the world, but your perspective of it. Why? Because you change your perspective, you change the world. This is how you don't get caught up in the anxiety, by realizing perspective. Are you your thoughts? No, you're not your thoughts. Are you your feelings? Nope. Nope, not your feelings. Are you your emotions? Nope. Nope. So then, Chuck, what are you? We are love, perspective, and truth. Love is experienced. Does that have anything to do with words? Love is experienced. Perspective is gathered. Does that have anything to do with words? Laws? You're just observing, you're gathering. And then what happens when you have love and perspective? Truth is realized. How do I change perspectives? Do not center on belief, thoughts, secondaries outside yourself. Center on the intangibles, which is the life of faith. These things, love, perspective, and truth, supersede words. They are past words and feelings and emotions. That's what love is. That's what perspective is. That's what truth is. Past all those things. They are principles. And they ground you into of human truth. Do you see? Because you are filled with love, perspective, and truth. These are evoked out. They are already in you. They are not given to you. They are not handed to you. You go out and you get them. And how do you get them? You risk. Again, we are talking the same thing we were talking when I started this thing. Because you're not your thoughts, you're not your feelings, you're not your emotions. The only thing you can know is truth. Final truth is your own experience. And guess what experience is? Experience is love. That's what you are. You see? And it is to experience who you are, experience love, that brings you rapture, that brings you perspective, that brings you truth. Do you see the logic I'm trying to show you? This is how you instantaneously transcend out of the world of anxiety, is realizing that you are these larger principles that supersede words. You are love, perspective, and truth. That supersedes everything else on this page. Do you see? Supersedes it all. And when you realize that, you see, you place yourself into eternity. When you realize that yourself, because you're no longer seeking finite answers. You're no longer seeking absolutes. These keep you from eternity. And the whole idea is to live your life in the perspective, in the intuition of eternity, because you're an eternal being. And when you realize you're an eternal being, that changes the grounds of your entire behavior. Your entire world changes when you realize that you're not in conflict, that you never die, that you are one with everything that is animated around you and one with all those who are around you. This is how you evoke compassion, appropriate behavior. You don't find that stuff in freaking answers and words. You find it by going out and being it, becoming the love you are, becoming the perspective you are, rendering the truth you are. This is how you know those things. You don't find out from a book or a speech or a movie. You see, and when you know these things about yourself, so you transcend anxiety. It's right there. Zen, not me. Zen is showing it to you. Zen showed it to me. I'm just showing you what Zen showed me. And this is what it shows you. Pro tip, I screamed in the forest many times in frustration, and trust you me, I did. And the answer was always the same. You become and experience what you think, perceive, and attract. If you are unhappy, that's your own problem. And you keep attracting more unhappiness until you change your perspective. This is why prayer will do you no good if you're unhappy. Praying for happiness will not bring you happiness. That will not make you any happier. What makes you happier is participating, identifying with others, identifying who you are. This is where fulfillment's found. This is where happiness is found. Giving to others, loving to others, sharing with them, bringing a larger perspective to them. This is how you render the love that you are. And this brings you happiness and fulfillment. So this is why answers don't bring you happiness. That's why all the laws in the Bible will never bring you happiness, ever. You're not a law-oriented creature. You're a nature creature. You're curvy. You're curvy. You find out the stuff through experience, which is wonky. You never know what's going to happen. Life happens to you most of the time. Most of the time, it has nothing to do with your choices. Most of the time, it has everything to do with just what befalls you and how you respond to it. And then that determines your life. You're not the driver in the sense of controlling. You're in a wonder. You are a wonder. So you kind of navigate like the kayaker going down the stream. He's not always in one space. He's going all over the stream, or she's going all over the stream, finding their way through. There's no one path, and every single kayaker is going to navigate that stream differently. And every one of them's right, because they're all getting to the bottom of the rapids. You see? So life is the same exact way. You are in rapids. There's no safety here. There's no net. There's no guarantees. There's no savior. And Zen teaches you to rejoice in that space, to not run from it. It's the same idea of having arachnophobia. Start studying spiders. You will kill kill the idea that they're this bad or harmful thing. Learn about them, and it's the same thing with life. It's not this bad and harmful thing. It doesn't have to be. You can change it through changing your perspective. This is why the POW who spends all his time in meditation rather than complaining is going to be a bigger man by the time he gets out, because he spent his time accepting his situation, accepting the fact he couldn't get out. So I'm going to grow my mind. In other words, I'm going to grow my awareness. I'm going to consciousness expand myself. Both dudes are in prison. Both are in a dire situation. It's just simply a matter of an attitude change. And that comes out of perspective, having the perspective to change the attitude. Okay, continuing. We manifest happiness through expanded perspective. It's not handed over. It's not guaranteed. It's opportunity waiting for you. Change your perception and you change your mind, which will spontaneously, there's the key, that's the center of Zen, spontaneously change your world, behavior, experience, and what you attract. You, my friend, control all of it. As Zen, epigenetics, and the egregore render, each in their own way, you become the illusions you believe. Isn't it amazing? Epigenetics and the egregore. Epigenetics is you become what you believe. The egregore is the same exact thing. And then Zen, in the same way, you become what you believe. Well, if I believe, or if I subscribe, not believe, but I subscribe to the philosophy that I am a river, that I am a growing root, well, then there is no path. There is no set way. You see? And so you release. How do you find patience? How do you find truth? Release. The one asking for protection and release from the circumstance, you see? These aren't asked for. You discover them. Attracts resistance, denial, and conflict. The one who is adapting and integrating the circumstance attracts acceptance, tolerance, and reason. You see, so when you're asking for protection and asking for release and asking for a savior, this attracts resistance, denial, and conflict. Whereas when you're adapting and integrating, you're attracting acceptance, tolerance, and reason. Which perspective attracts anxiety? You see, the first one, the one who's seeking answers, protections, the one who is asking to be released. This is the person who walks up to the guru and says, okay, I want you to release me. I want you to show me how to release. Just tell me exactly how to do it. And that's not how it works. It's a process of discussion, and it's a process of exploring experience. It's also a process of reading. These are all part and parcel of it. You see? You see? As Zen, epigenetics, and the egregore render, each in their own way, you become the illusions you believe. The one asking for protection and release from the circumstance attracts resistance, denial, and conflict. The one who is adapting and integrating the circumstance attracts acceptance, tolerance, and reason. Which perspective attracts anxiety? Oppressive human problems refers to dukkha, suffering from grasping. Zen flips these into mental absurdities, freeing awareness to the present suchness. The intention here is to highlight Zen's directness, verb, and ruthless humor to motivate readers, showing its accessibility, intelligible both to the intellectual as to the illiterate, meaning you don't have to be like the smart, gifted, bright, brilliant person to grasp this stuff. You know, you don't have to be a scholar. In a transformative way, amid Western seriousness, Watts motivates with exasperating and delightful nonsense, reflecting his radio style, the entertaining gesture that provokes awakening. The baffling views of Zen emphasize its compassionate core, unsentimental relief from self-inflicted woes. Pro tip: thinking one needs to be saved because one thinks they are a sinner is the all-time greatest example of a self-inflicted self-inflicted wound. I bought that con for 40 years. Do you see? And Zen wants to come in and just saying, hey, I don't have any sentiment, meaning Zen saying, I don't have any sentiment for where you've been caught up, but I'm going to show you ruthlessly how you can get out of that space and expand yourself. That's a true coach. That's a true teacher who doesn't care if you hate them. They tell you what you need to hear. They say the hard word. That's the coach you want. That's the friend you want. You don't want the person that's blowing sunshine off your ass all the time. You don't want the person who doesn't have their own initiative and is just bowing towards you. You don't want that. You see, you don't want to do that. You see, and Zen is rendering this truth to you through practical means. It's all self-infliction. Okay, the inside-out turn reveals the void as inerrant. Problems arise from dualistic thinking. The end. We've been talking about that. Dissolving the stillness of dualism uncovers the con of emptiness. So to render life as a fullness, a possibility, an opportunity, not emptiness. Chance or nihilism. This riddle embodies sunyata, no logical ground, but surrender in one. But in surrender, one delights in the baseless play, the lila, the play of nature, because nature's coy. It loves to play. Watts ties this to Western semantics, suggesting Zen accelerates edge growth by vaporizing ego barriers. We have covered that. Next slide. Tools for analysis. These elements on page, 8, encapsulate Watts' void as liberation theme, blending shock with universality. And here are some tools for analysis here. Rootlessness as freedom. When analyzing Zen practices, view no ground not as loss, but as non-dual release, then apply to ego critiques. Cross traditional bridges. Zen echoes Western mysticism. Spot parallels like kenosis with Satori to avoid exoticism, fostering a third perspective called reason. Paradoxical disillusion. Use Zen riddles as mental lenses. This accelerates self-awareness by means of juxtaposition and/or triangulation, which we've been doing. Delight in uncertainty. Void terror systems from clinging. Sorry, I read that wrong. Void terror stems from clinging. Zen's humor heals clinging. Frame modern relativity as void opportunity. extending motivations like the magician who realizes suddenly Satori, practicing, not magician, musician, practicing makes more enjoyable, playing more enjoyable, which motivates more practice, which makes playing more enjoyable, which motivates more practice, and so on and so forth. You see, frame modern relativity as void opportunity. Challenges, see those challenges as means and ways to greater discovery and knowingness. Okay, we've got a few slides left here. Let's go to comments and see what you guys are doing in comments. Yeah, you don't want existential dread for sure. If you guys got any questions, let me know. It is a toughie, isn't it? It's a toughie. It's a toughie. I'm doing my best. I kind of feel like I'm failing tonight, but I'm doing my best to try to make it clear. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, you guys don't have questions. You're not bringing anything up. Okay, let's continue then with the essay, and then we'll come back. I'll be done here. Let's see, it's 7 o'clock. I'll be done about probably about 7:30. That'll leave about 30 minutes for questions. Okay, where were we? We just finished that. Oh, of course, it wouldn't be me if I didn't leave a comment up. Thank you. I appreciate that, Sassy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Media assets. Here we are. So we just, okay, next. Essentially, Watts communicates here that while Zen literature abounds, it fails the general reader by lacking order, context, and clarity by many other authors. Allen's book fills this as yet unfulfilled gap with a balanced, integrated view. His intentions stem from his motivations. Frustrated by mystification, he aims to demystify Zen without dilution, making it intelligible to the intellectual as to the illiterate. Previous page. By critiquing predecessors, this is what he's doing on this page, including himself, Allen models humility, inviting trust and discouraging blind adherence. This ties to his life. Post-priesthood, Watts sought non-institutional wisdom. Here he positions himself as a matured interpreter, motivated to heal Western alienation through accessible Eastern insights. And we've talked about that extensively. For audiences of general readers and students, he signals reliability. This book corrects misleading popularizations by fostering deeper engagement over superficial fads and overly ambitious, arguably out of touch Zen authors. And what he's emphasizing here, and I'm not going to read the whole page, but what Allen is emphasizing here is that most of the books that have been released about Zen have been too scholarly, like it's like trying to read a medical book for a student that's in their like 8th year. There'll be so many words and so many ideas in there that are so past what we've been trained on. You'd have to be a doctor trained in it to understand that that's what's happening with Zen in Allen's eyes, and that we have these great practitioners, these wonderful gentlemen who really understand thoroughly Zen, but they're so into Zen, they've lost the ability to reach the common folk who don't know anything about Zen. Common folk meaning you and me. The folks who really have not spent their life studying it, and so we don't have the concepts that the masters do. You see what Allen is saying here. And so he's saying that by writing this book, what he has attempted to do is to offer a means to Zen that is reasonable, that is in touch with the current community at the education level that they're at, meaning they're not a professional Zen or Zen master. And so this is what Allen is pointing towards, in that he feels that in this book, he's done a better job at portraying Zen than some of the older books that preceded him. It's not to put down those books. It's to say, I've got a bit of a different tact here that likely will work better for you than trying to read an ancient guru who has really lost touch with communicating with normal society. Okay, in Zen, experience trumps scholarship as practice uncovers the meaning underlying words, and the only truth one can know is their own experience. The double slit proves this, and we've talked about it. True understanding demands personal action, not just reading. Books are provisional bridges, but confusion arises without experience, and I think you guys know that now. The intent of Watts on this page here is to address Western Zen hype dangers by providing the missing comprehensive guide, this book, while humbly admitting limitations. By critiquing ideals from masters and scholars, Watts motivates readers to experiment personally, transparently reflecting his own life. Autodidact rebel against hierarchies, seeking lived wisdom. That was Watts's telos. Allen demystifies silence, the Zen of Lao Tzu, as principled, not elitist, and counters academic snobbery as biased, since experience is primary. You see where he's pointing now. Overall, Watts fosters openness by urging concrete engagement, which trumps words, aligning with his motivation to seal alienation through accessible synthesis. Now let's read this little part here. Now, from the standpoint of Western scientific scholarship, this would not do at all. For such a person would have become an enthusiast and partisan. Let me read from the beginning of the paragraph. Perhaps then the most appropriate author of such a work would be a Westerner who has spent some years under a Japanese master going through the whole course of Zen training. This is Watts talking about himself. Now, from the standpoint of Western scientific scholarship, here he's juxtaposing himself, this would not do at all. For such a person would have become an enthusiast and partisan, incapable of an objective and disinterested view. But fortunately or unfortunately, Zen is above all an experience, non-verbal in character, which is simply inaccessible to the purely literary or scholarly approach. Do you see right there? He's showing it to you, which is simply inaccessible to the purely literary and scholarly approach, and what is filled in all the universities, scholars. I'm not complaining. I'm saying they only have one perspective, and their perspective typically has nothing to do with personal experience. It has to do with personal study and giving themselves to a subject, but they don't have their hands dirty in the trenches. They're in a classroom teaching the theories that the books told them. And this is the same across the board with all education. And that's why Allen is saying here, hey, listen, I'm not a scholar. I don't have any degrees. I haven't been caught up like the scholar has been in their education. I've been freely walking into this space, following my own intuitions. And there's an authenticity there and a beauty and integrity there that the scholar doesn't have, because the scholar isn't buried in experience. They're buried in books. And we as human beings, we relate to experience a lot better than we relate to books. And so Allen is saying, because I come here with all these years having spent in Western religion and all these years having spent in Eastern religion, and I'm not a scholar, I offer you a cacophony, an arsenal of information that a scholar, a teacher, a university could never bring to you. Do you see? And there's real truth in that. And that is his argument here in these statements. So here are some tools for analysis in regards. Experience over scholarship. Prioritize practice. Ask, does this require experience to grasp? Yes. Then apply nonverbal motivations and reconsider. This is how you suck the marrow out of this thing. Unseen assumptions hinder. Identify biases like Eastern no self with Western dualism and use perspective to bridge the divide. And that's what we've been doing. This is, folks, this is the mature approach. This is the mature approach. Integration, acceptance, integration to learn, not determination and finite. You're not going to grow. You're going to stay in the space. You'll never grow out of the space because you've determined it. You've become finite. You're on the farm. You're on the farm and you're not leaving the farm. You see, for safety, security. You see how it all works? You see how it all works. Okay. Using the bottom of the page, paradox of communication, using the bottom of the page, Lao Tzu quote is a reminder that speaking limits knowing. Look at the quote, those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know. Do you see the knowledge in that? View texts as rafts and avoid literalism by discarding the raft after crossing the ignorance gap. And this harkens to Buddhism, which is the ferry boat that takes you from one reality to the other. You get off the boat. You don't stay on the ferry. So you don't stay on the belief system. You don't stay on the set way, right? You reach the island. You sail the ocean. You reach down, get off the freaking boat, climb the mountain. Totally different experience for you, totally different set of knowledge waiting for you and available to you. And now you have all the knowledge that you learned while at sea on the boat. This is the mature approach. And it's the same thing with these existential ideas that we talk about all the time. All the time. Embrace insecurity. Seek authentic parallels to enhance East-West dialogues rather than attempting to alienate them one from the other. This is wisdom, man. This is wisdom. This is truth. This is beautiful. Alan makes clear that Zen's dilemmas stem from polarized perspectives. That's our dilemma. But balanced interpretation can bridge that gap. This is reason, folks, preventing dangerous isolation. This technique validates both sides. Western caution is reasonable, Eastern reticence as protective, while critiquing mutual disdain. That's some good writing there. By sharing both sides of experiences, Alan builds credibility, motivating readers to trust his synthesis. Isn't this beautiful? Guys, that's exactly what I'm trying to do with you. I'm trying to tee this book up for you guys with this stuff on the front end so that when we walk into this book, because Zen is so hard to learn, you will be already familiar with these deeper concepts. And it really makes me happy to follow in the same resonance as Alan here. By sharing both sides of experiences, Alan builds credibility, motivating readers to trust his synthesis. This, in fact, reflects his life. Anglican insider turned outsider, and 20 years in cross-cultural work at the Buddhist Lodge in Seabury Western. Seabury Western is when he went to seminary. He urges global dialogue amid divides, which fosters empathy. Of course. Global dialogue amidst divide. That fosters empathy. That's beautiful. For audiences, Watts demystifies cagey attitudes as not secretive, but principled, inviting cautious inquiry without abandoning critique, ultimately to heal rifts through accessible wisdom. And I'm telling you guys, how rifted are we, you know, between each other, within ourselves? We need healing there. We need to heal these rifts that have come between us because the programmers have put counterintuitive beliefs into us. And we have to heal ourselves. We've got to get our hands dirty so that we can go out and help to heal others and help awaken others, because we really are in a situation of the egregore, and the world has captured the population. They're really captured. Many are. We are a minority right now. You, me, us in this group, we're a minority, a very big minority. You see, and so we shine brighter and brighter, and the brighter we shine, right, the more wisdom, the more tolerance, the more understanding, the more alignment we will realize, right? And we do that through talking with each other and sharing with each other like we do in chat, which we're about to do, and I'm so excited. Menu over the dinner. A lot of you guys have heard this, and you don't know what it means when Alan says you're eating the menu instead of the dinner. Here's the explanation. This refers to the individual who consumes laws, handed down education, and classrooms over actually getting their hands dirty with experience. So no matter what is realized, it always constellates assumptions formed by the menu, the laws, education, and practices put into the person. So you see, you're given a menu of how to behave, a menu of this is what you do for spirituality, a menu that says, okay, this is how you get better when you're sick, a menu that says, here's your identity, this is who you are, this is who God is. You're given menus, okay? That's what the menu is. That's what the menu is. This means then that the individual never has an authentic experience. How many times have I told you guys that? How many times have I told you guys that religion makes your experience on earth inauthentic? I've told you guys that, and this is where it came from, right here. Right here. And so tainted by poisoning. Sorry, I jumped. This means then that the individual never has an authentic experience because every event is translated through their preconditioning. And how could it be otherwise? Their moored beliefs, the menu. And so tainted by poisoning assumptions rather than liberated by personal experience. In other words, they're eating the laws. They're eating the directives, right? And that's the meal. They don't realize, no. Those are suggestions, brother. To understand, you got to go eat the meal. You got to actually put that stuff in your mouth and eat it to know. The menu's going to make it look super tasty. It's going to make it look this way and that way, but that's not the food, man. The food for your life isn't found in a book. It's found in experience, the only place you can find truth. That's applicable to you. You see, this is what he's saying. This is an absolutely brilliant metaphor. And so tainted by poisoning assumptions rather than liberated by personal experience. You see, it's personal experience that's going to liberate you. The menu is going to poison you. Alan's argument is that the way to heal from conditioning, we all are conditioned. Do not think you're not conditioned. The way to heal from conditioning is to experience the now without precepts, intention without intention. What is the belief attempting to do? To program intention, to make the world inauthentic. Just like I said, program you. Make the world inauthentic and you will hate it. Make yourself inauthentic and you will hate yourself. This is why identity is so important. And realizing that you're perfect, the world is perfect, and that we are in a wonder. Alan's argument is that the way to heal from conditioning is to experience the now without precepts, which is what I'm trying to do. The principles of Zen are not something worded and taught like laws. They are something experienced and realized like love and truth. This is the backbone of the idea that your experience is the only truth you can ever truly know. You see, and that's why Zen works through experience and realization. You see, and that's why religion is always working with laws, demands, and threats, because it's trying to convert you from being a human to being a religious bot. Seriously, that's what's happening. That's what a convert is. You have been converted out of your humanness and you've been programmed into a bot to no longer see the world as a wonder, but to see the world as fallen. You've been conditioned to no longer see yourself as omniscient and perfect, but to see yourself as a sinner and fallen and doomed to hell. That's a program. That is a program. That's not real. Those are words. You're eating the menu. You're eating the menu. You see? It's all right there, plain as day. And finally, finishing up, last couple slides. I got some couple fun slides to show you about Alan. This page articulates a clear principle for interpreting Zen, a balanced, friendly, neutral stance that combines sympathetic experimentation with institutional independence. Watts uses personal candor, metaphors, and philosophical assertions to affirm Zen's transcendent, non-institutional sense. I love it that it is non-institutional. I have no time for institutions. When I was a little child, my mom would try to get me to wear a suit and tie, and I just would not do it. I have no time for institutions. Okay, this page articulates, I already read that. Watts uses personal candor, metaphors, and philosophical assertions to affirm Zen's transcendent, non-institutional sense while disclaiming formal credentials. Love it. The less credentials you have, usually the more reachable you are. The tone is humble, liberating, and optimistic, blending autobiography with universal love. Absolutely brilliant. Let's read the page real quick. On the one hand, it is necessary to be sympathetic and to experiment personally with the way of life to the limit of one's possibilities. On the other hand, one must resist every temptation to join the organization. There it is. Stay away from the organizations, to become involved with its institutional commitments. I mean, that's why I had to leave the church. It forced me to commit that I was a Christian. I had to sign my name on a sheet in order to be employed and stay employed, that I was a Christian and I would follow the Christian laws. You see? There you go. Total commitments. In this friendly, neutral position of Zen, obviously, one is apt to be disowned by both sides. But at the worst, one's misrepresentations provoke them to express themselves more clearly. Please go back and read that tonight after I stop talking. For the relationship between two positions becomes far more clear when there is a third with which to compare them. That's triangulation. And as you guys know, I named my book Triangulating Dysfunctional Religion, Elucidating Christianity, Triangulating delusional religion. Thus, even if this study of Zen does no more than express a standpoint which is neither Zen or anything Western, it will at least provide that third point of reference, the triangulation. However, there can be no doubt that the essential standpoint of Zen refuses to be organized or to be made the exclusive possession of any institution. If there is anything in this world which transcends the relativities of cultural conditioning, it is Zen. It is Zen by whatever name it may be called. And this is why I'm doing the series. I am here to help break your cultural conditioning. That's one of the major reasons I'm here. That's why I'm an iconoclast. This, then, is my position with respect to Zen, and I feel I should be frank with the reader in a day when there is so much anxiety about people's credentials or quantifications. I cannot represent myself as a Zenist or even as a Buddhist, for this seems to me to be like trying to wrap up and label the sky. Do you guys remember the quote from the Native American Seattle, where he said it's crazy for man to buy and sell land because it's like buying and selling the sky. Nobody owns such a thing. Nobody owns the sky. It's crazy to think you can sell it. Nobody owns the land. It belongs to nature. Anyway, that's where that comes from. I cannot represent myself as a scientifically objective academician, for with respect to Zen, this seems to me to be like studying birdsong in a collection of stuffed nightingales. You guys get the point of that. I claim no rights to speak of Zen. I claim only the pleasure of having studied its literature and observed its art forms since I was hardly more than a boy, and having had the delight of informal association with a number of Japanese and Chinese travelers of the same trackless way. Don't you like the way he puts that, the trackless way? And then finally, the last slide. Here are our final tools for analysis for the book. Friendly, neutral principle. Experience sympathetically without commitment. Ask, does this avoid institutional bias? Try to amalgamate immersion and detachment. There's a Zen study right there. Amalgamate immersion and detachment. Well, if I'm immersing myself into something, how am I detaching? You see? Contemplate that. Triangulation, third point reference. Compare positions of east, west, and insider, outsider to illuminate the deeper pattern past east, west, insider, outsider. The triangulation in play. Transcendence beyond labels. Sky metaphor. Avoid categorizing the ineffable. Reject ist identities like Islamist, Buddhist, Calvinist, etc. Avoid that. And view Zen as a nameless universal, the religion of no religion. And finally, informal credentials. The stuffed nightingales metaphor. Critique dead scholarship. And that's one of the biggest problems. Don't you guys know this? One of the biggest problems with the scholarly work is that they're stuck. Look at Göbekli Tepe. The archaeologists, the very ones who want to find this stuff, shut it down. It doesn't fit our narrative. Shut it down. Shut it down. And you have these old fogies in scholarly work, and they refuse to adapt. Refuse. And here we have this incredible archaeological finding, which shows that we had technology well past the Stone Age, before the Stone Age. And what do the archaeologists do? Shut it down, man. Shut it down. You see? Because it takes their history that they have formulated over hundreds of years of archaeology and throws it in the garbage. And pride in those scholars keeps them from changing. It is pride which binds you. You see, you must let go. You must let go. Okay, and then finally, those are the last two pages. I just wanted you guys to see where he wrote the book, right here at Mill Valley, up in the left there, right north of San Francisco. And he wrote the book on his ferry boat, the Vallejo. Isn't that brilliant? There he is right there, hanging out. Early morning, obviously. I love it. And here's his boat. And look how they redid it. It's still in Sausalito Harbor, or Sausalito Bay. It's still there. It's still parked. Wouldn't you guys love to go see it? That would be amazing to do that together. That would be amazing to go see the Vallejo together. It's close to the public. It's a private home now, but it would be amazing to see it, take some pictures in front of it, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be exceptional? And then here's inside. Total bohemian, baby. Love it. Isn't this great? Keeping with Alan's tradition. Look at the freaking blue window. Don't you love it? Yellow rails. Isn't it great? Look at all the art on those pillars. Oh, I just love it. They kept the joy. I just love it. Okay, let's go to comments. Let's see what you guys are doing. Exactly. 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 You guys nailed it. I love my chat. You guys are so freaking on it. I love it. What's this, Tom? Watches a pipe, smoking pipe weed from Miller. Yes. Okay. What's going on here? Hi, Goose Mama. What's happening? Peace. Please address the dilemma of being an 8th grade teacher who keeps failing at being Zen. That's funny. I failed at being Zen too when my kids were teenagers. It's rough. Yes, it's as funny as it is frustrating. I bet it is. Some kids just love acting up and failing. How can I accept? Well, I mean, kids need guidance. Kids don't have discernment. They're growing up. This is something to remember. This is something important. Both Alan Watts and Joseph Campbell said that there is an educational requirement to grow up. So there are, to be a kid and growing up, because you don't have discernment, it's not that focused, it's not that good. You can't see past a few weeks ahead in life. You're living for the moment in the now and so on and so forth. And you've got to understand that there's some necessary regulation there that those kids are going to have to adapt to grow up. And and then about the time of puberty, just after, towards the end of high school, you have to unlearn. This is the words of Joseph Campbell and Alan Watts. I promise you, the words that they said in their lectures. You must unlearn your education, because that's basically indoctrination. It has to be, because your parents are raising a little tyrant. Okay, so there has to be some regulation there. There has to be. The child is still developing. Okay, in other words, that's healthy. The child needs it. That's why Zen is for adults. Zen is for people who have moved past puberty and you've now walked into life. And you're like, okay, what the F? Everything I've learned, everything that was indoctrinated into me is actually poisoning me and harming me. And so you must unlearn, the words of Joseph Campbell, you must unlearn all your education growing up. And then you must relearn with the wise mind. And the wise mind comes out of discernment, which requires time. Okay, love? So having those 8th graders and the crazy, I get it. I get it. You lose your S all the time. I get it. It's no problem. I get it. I was the same way when my kids, when my son was in junior high. Oh my God. Okay, so I get that. But understand, you have to form them in, you have to indoctrinate them in many ways as they grow up. It's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. Because they don't have the discernment to make good decisions. So if you say to them, well, I'm not going to decide for you, you decide, they don't have enough discernment to make good decisions, and they're going to get themselves in trouble. They need guidance. They need a mom. They need a dad. They need somebody to help guide them. And then when maturity comes, right? You pass 8th grade, you get into 9th, 10th, 12th, 13th, and you're going through puberty and all that stuff, right? Discernment comes in, and now the person is ready and they'll grow up. But right now, good luck to you. Just do your best to hold it together. But I totally understand your situation, Goose Mama. Okay. What other questions do you have? Yeah, it does. Pride. Remember what I just said, Philip? Pride. Pride gets in the way of humility. That's why those scholars aren't teachable. That's why. They don't have humility. Their education has gone to their head. My dad used to say a doctor, it takes them 4 years or 8 years, whatever, to get a medical license, and it takes them 60 years to get over it. The philosopher's the same way. You get enough accolades on your wall, you're going to start believing your own ass. You'll start believing your own ass. And when you start believing your own ass, you're full of pride. And those scholarships that you have, the documents that you have that show that you're an academic scholar or a scholar. Why is it so hard for me to get this out? Those things do not create a person who is humble and willing and learning. They solidify and harden an individual so they don't keep learning. Very rarely do you find a scholar who is happy to be wrong. Very often you will find an autodidact who is happy to be wrong. That's why I say to you guys all the time, I'm happy to be wrong. Happy to be wrong. I don't have to be right. I could be totally off with 3i Atlas. I could be totally off with the Zen stuff. I'm just doing my best. But if I'm completely wrong, then I'm completely wrong. I completely accept that. But man, right now, what we got to have in folks is humility and teachability. You are exactly right, Philip. You're exactly right. I don't understand that question. Is the third side of Zen for accountability or to weigh the other? Oh, you're talking about triangulation. Okay, it's to weigh the other two. When I am triangulating in life, by having 3 points, I can navigate to any sector because I've got my 3 points of reference. I've got a reference that looks at the other two objectively, and then I got another reference that looks at those two objectively. You see, this is triangulation. This brings about clarity. This is how you find out the psychology inside of Western religion is a bad idea. You triangulate it and you say, okay, now wait a minute. According to psychology, I become what I think I am. And according to Christianity, they want you to think that you're a sinner. Is that a good idea? Bam. That's triangulation. That's a bad idea. And by triangulating, you'll know, well, thinking that I'm a sinner makes me behave like I'm a sinner, makes me behave like I'm a slave, makes me think that I'm a slave, makes me think that I'm free when I'm actually captured. Triangulation. Triangulation will get you out. That's why I named my book what I did. Triangulating Dysfunctional Religion. Sorry, I missed that. My head is going so fast when I do this, sometimes I can't think of things. Okay. Nice, Max. Heck yeah, dude. I didn't do well in school at all, but I ended up being a top mechanical contractor and supervisor on high rises, arenas, and stadiums. Bang on, Max. Absolutely, buddy. What a testimony. That's fantastic. Yeah, exactly. They need guidance. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. That's a funny line. It would be funny to see what Alan would do in that situation. Grab a drink. Yes. Oh my goodness. All right. What do we got? We got any questions? You guys are hilarious. I love my freaking chat. Okay. Join the club, Max. It takes a while, friend. It takes, and you know what, Max? Here's the thing, buddy. You're like me. You're an engineer. If you're a contractor and you're working on stadiums, you are a hardcore engineer. So you're used to your whole life having blueprints, having plans. You're going to meetings, right? You're going to meetings. Everything's getting planned and set up. And here comes Zen. And it's like, forget the plans, brother. Throw that away. You know, and it's hard for the engineer to let that go. Why do you think I had to get cancer? Why do you think I had to lose all my friends? Why do you think I had to go through so much crisis and terribleness to get to the point where I could be fluid in this talking that I'm sharing with you right now? Pain, disillusionment, alienation. Really. And that's what it takes, because that breaks down your pride. Because, man, I had the answer spiritually. I did. I had the answer. I knew I might not have my body and mind figured out completely, but I've got the spiritual answer, and that's pure pride. Narcissism, because religion turns you into a narcissist. I've told you guys that before. Chuck, Fortune left you a big thank you. Could you kindly read it? Thank you. You have to scroll up to see. Okay, yes, I will. Absolutely. I'll find it. I'll find it. Fortune is orange. She has an orange, or he has an orange insignia, and I want to see it. Could have been. It's a good question, Gretchen. I want to find Fortune, though. Hang on. Let me see what Fortune wrote. You guys got to understand there's over 700 comments, so hang on. Did they write it recently? Oh, I really want to read it. Fortune, if you get this, please email it to me so I can post it on one of my video beginnings. Because I really like that kind of thing. That kind of thing really motivates me and gets me very excited. I cannot find it, dang it. I hope Fortune is still here and they can repost it. I still love this question, Goose Mama. I think that's one of the funniest questions I've ever received. I love it. Yeah, when I get to it, Leon, I will. Yeah, it is. Old 60s hippie styles bohemian. Yep. Though my wife, who is a designer, might very well have some words to say to correct me on that. But from what I understand, and I'm not a designer, Jenny is, I'm not. But from what I understand, bohemian and hippie style 60s go together. And I know that because my wife likes bohemian and she likes 60s hippie style. So that's how I kind of know that. Because of Jenny. Brother, let me tell you something. It is in many ways. I don't believe in panaceas, okay? I don't subscribe to the idea of a panacea, okay? I don't subscribe to the idea of one size fits all. But I am telling you, when it comes to philosophy, I've never come across, for me personally, a more appropriate philosophy than Zen. Never. And it's actually heads and tails because it is so willing to work with you, undemanding, lawless, not in the sense of tyranny, but lawless in the sense of not following the rules of the society and its regulations religiously. It encourages disobedience. These are healthy. It encourages doubt. It encourages hands-on, getting your fingers dirty, not on woo-woo stuff that's way out there. It's so hardcore practically in the mind that it's hard to learn. It's so grounded in reality. It's not trying to send you off. It's telling you on the front end, dude, you're at risk. There's no such things as towels over your head. You're at risk when you start thinking like this. And I love that. It's not coming in saying, we're going to make you safe. We're going to secure your eternity. You're going to be okay. You're going to be saved. No, Zen doesn't come in there with any promises. It comes in there just like a guru and just talks straight with you. No guarantees, no promises, brother. And that's life. Okay, dang it. I'm trying. I don't know where it is. I don't know where Fortune's message is. I want to find it. Maybe someone who knows where it is, copy and paste and say, this is, okay, here. Fortune said, maybe King sent me a photo of it. Okay, here, okay, King just sent them to me. King, you are awesome. Fortune, I have to go. Can someone tell Chuck to read my thanks for him, please, regarding my father? It would be very kind of you. I am hoping soon he will start to speak again, not be mute. I'm sure you're talking about your father. I love you all so much, and I want that for you. Fortune will try to make the next Zoom as well. Okay, wait. Here we go. Here's her note. Okay, so here's her note. Okay, so here's a note. Do you guys see it? Oh, it's backwards. Sorry. Okay. Chuck, my father, who is in his 80s, is so depressed that he stopped speaking. Oh, my God. You told me to talk to him on his level. Okay. He is now reading books that he likes. We read together. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That is so beautiful. Thank you, Fortune. Oh, my. I'm glad that I was a part of that in some way, but you did it, man. You did the work, Fortune. You went and started doing it. That is so beautiful. I'm so glad that he's reading now. That is so fantastic. That just made my night, man. That just made my night. Thank you for sharing that, Fortune. I really appreciate that. I cannot believe the effect that this Saturday night has, man. This is really positive for that family, and I'm really thankful that we could be a part of that here together. This is all our work, everybody. Okay, let's get to new comments at the bottom because I've been okay. Chuck, do you think it is amazing, Stacy? Chuck, do you think Jesus was a type of Zen master whose words were just twisted by religion? Probably, yeah. Yeah. I don't think Jesus was an evil guy if he existed. But to be honest with you, Gretchen, I'm not sure he existed. But remember that at that time, there were many sages, you know, there were many sages at that time. And, you know, to deify one of them was how the KM kept his words from being able to be understood. And so, yes, I do believe that in many ways he was twisted. His words were twisted. Yeah. It's us. It's us, King. King just sent me a message saying it's we. Exactly. It is we. It's we that's doing this. You guys are doing this. Listen, I am just a vessel. Okay? It's you guys that are the flow. Seriously. I'm just a vessel. I am simply pointing. You guys are the ones who are engaging and interacting with the public, which is what we need. This is what we need. We need to interact with each other, just like Fortune did with their grandfather, or with her father. Yeah, her father. That's what we need. And that happens. People get courage when they see your words, folks. They get courage. I had a dude email me after we had our meeting, and we got to talk about our meeting here in a minute. But I had a meeting, or oh shit, I lost my train of thought. Dang it, I completely lost my train of thought. I saw some text come in, I totally lost my train of thought. What freaking? Oh dang it, I lost my train of thought. Shoot. Sorry, I lost my train of thought on that. Sorry. That's very kind of you to say, Stacy. That's very kind. That's very kind. Yeah, you might want to check it out. I haven't checked it out yet, but it might be interesting. Yeah. Esoteric 369, please email me. Please email me. I tried to mention this last week. I had made a message for you in the show, but I really need you to email me. So please email me. Thank you. I hope you're being funny. Yeah, because I lost my train of thought. Like it was gone. I was totally going on it. And then these texts came in real fast and I saw them and read them quick. And then I went back. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What was I talking about? I completely lost it. Sorry. Thank you, Twilight Mist. Yes, a gentleman. Okay, thank you. You reminded me. Okay, so a guy emailed me after Zoom meeting. And he says to me, he goes, well, this morning I got up and I drank all my urine. He said that to me. And I was blown away. I was like, oh my God. So I wrote him back and I said to him, and I say this to say that you guys are influential. When he said that to me, I was like, you know what? You know, maybe this is a sign that I need to actually try that. So I might. And I was just saying that because you guys in chat mentioned it. I wouldn't have had the epiphany that I had he not wrote me. So I'm going to try. I think I'm going to try it. I'm scared, but I'll do anything to get better. Almost anything. I'll do almost anything to get better. Okay. We've got about 10 minutes left. Do you guys want to keep chatting? Can someone please give me his email? Okay, here it is. Esoteric. Contact Chuck Jr. at yahoo.com. Contact Chuck Jr. at yahoo.com. I will hold my nose. You got that right. I ain't tasting it. No, I'm not gonna tell you the story of what someone said to me about taste of it. Not gonna go there. Truth. You may as well, Esoteric. You may as well. Yeah. Things taste like they smell, in case you didn't know it. So my guess is, though I've never drank it, my guess is that it tastes just like it smells, but I ain't gonna taste it. My nose will be plugged until I wash my mouth out after I swallow. I might dry heave. I might barf it all up. I dry heave when I wipe it on my skin. What? They make it a drink? I'd be like, Dude, as little as possible. I don't want to extend this experience. Hey, Scott. Scott was at the meeting. Heck yeah. Love Scott. What do you think about the New Testament? I think the Bible's twisted, Scott, my friend. I'm sorry. I think with the Bible, you got to piecemeal it, man. I think you got to take portions out of it, and you've got to pull it together on your own with your own discernment, because I don't think any part of it hasn't been twisted. And I think the whole thing has been designed to really keep the society suppressed. I'm sorry to say, but I really think that's the case. And I don't think, because it's so convoluted and confrontational, I just have a hard time believing there's a whole lot in it that's going to help you, you know? I mean, you guys remember the dream I told you last week where I said everybody was going the wrong way. I mean, that's because of the Bible, you know? It instills fear in people. It instills disillusion in them. It forces them into groups, you know? It forces them to in-groups and out-groups. And it lowers your discernment because it becomes the epicenter of knowledge, and its knowledge is very limited, but you're so brainwashed that it's the knowledge of all things that when someone says it's not that, it's hard for the person to even stay in the room, the Christian. So it's hard to even get on a practical level with someone, even explaining the psychology of it and saying, listen, if you just look at the face of the psychology of this thing, if you just look at the face of it, it gives away its illegitimacy. It gives it away. Right on the face. But you see, if your perspective has been tainted like a scholar, you can't see it. Just like the scholar, the archaeologist, scholar, won't even go to Göbekli Tepe, won't even engage it. And the Christian's the same way. I'm not even going to engage a world that doesn't have Jesus. What are you talking about? Why would I want to be in a world that has no Jesus? Why would I want that? You see? And the archaeologist is, I'm thinking in many ways, thinking, why would I want to uncover all of this evidence? Because all it does is disprove my theories. All it does is punt my ideas of history. And so the scholar says, I don't want any part of it. They're a coward. They're a coward. That's why they're not an autodidact. That's why they obey. They're a coward. And so that's why they're a hindrance to our development as a society. Yeah, but it's been twisted, Philip. Yes, it's full of allegory and mythology, absolutely, but it's been twisted. Maybe. But you got to understand, Scott, I spent 40 years in it, and it really harmed me. It now is what is between me and my father. I don't have a relationship with my father anymore because of the Bible, Scott. So it's pretty bad for me. It might not be that bad for you, but it has basically separated me from my family, most of my friends, my former job. And how is that a good philosophy? If it tears families apart, please tell me how that's a good philosophy. If it tears families apart, if it separates nations from one another, brings about and encourages war, tell me how that's helpful. Tell me how you want to be a part of something like that. You know what I'm saying? Look more deeply at it, because I think it's really a harm to society, and I quite frankly think it needs to be destroyed. Yeah, it does cause contention. Okay, here, let's address this. Hi, Robert. The body is getting rid of toxins through the kidneys, etc. Why drink it? This is an awesome question, Robert. I heard if done, it should only be done once a week at most. Okay, Robert, I'm gonna lay it on thick, my friend. So here's the technology behind drinking your own urine. Now, urine is made from blood. I don't know if you know that, but it's made from blood. It is serum that has been extracted from the blood. Now, what is your blood? Okay, your blood gives you life. Your blood carries all your nutrients. Your blood also carries all the detritus, the dead cells, the half-eaten cancer cells, the germs, all that crap is in your blood. Okay, this is what keeps you healthy. I mean, having that stuff in your blood, bringing in nutrients, taking out garbage, I mean, that's health. Okay, so that's the job of your blood. It's doing its job, and your kidneys are doing its job. Now follow. In the process of fighting disease, your immune system, your white blood cells in particular, begin to eat the germs and the cancerous cells that are attacking your body. Okay? Your immune system is. And what happens is, as it's doing its immune process, sometimes the white cell doesn't entirely eat the cancer cell. Sometimes it doesn't entirely eat the germ cell, but it rips off all of its cilia that allows it to motor around. Let's just say it's a bacteria like that. Okay, so what happens is, as your body, your liver is filtering your blood every 3 minutes, every drop of blood in your body goes through your liver every 3 minutes. And your liver is taking out of your blood like it's a weigh station. It's taking out the impurities, the toxins. The air you breathe goes into your blood eventually and becomes toxic in your blood. And the crap that they spray in the sky travels through the cilia in your lungs straight into your bloodstream. Your liver filters that out, as well as the half-eaten cancer cells, the half-eaten germ cells, and so on and so forth. Okay, one of the most toxic thing you can have in your body, and this is straight from all three of my naturopath doctors, the most, if not the most, one of the most toxic molecules you can have in your body, or cells you can have in your body, is half-dead cancer cells. One of the toughest things to get over when you have cancer is your immune system is dumping half-dead cancer cells like mad into your bloodstream to get rid of them. Okay, well, here is where urine technology is knowledge. Follow. Inside your urine is all the half-eaten, half-destroyed germ cells that are trying to kill you, that are trying to make you sick. But they're no longer functional because they're half-eaten. But they contain all the DNA of that compromised, that poisonous cell. And so your immune system, which is the greatest doctor in your body, learns when you drink those half-eaten cells that are in your urine, your body immune system is able to find those, will attack those because they're foreign cells, and will learn how to kill them because they're half-eaten, they're half-dead. And so the DNA, some of it is still there, and through the nucleic acids, your body will be able to learn the DNA that composes that cell and how to destroy it. So urine is like a blueprint for your body's immune system to know how to kill these cells that it's in battle with right now. That's why it's important to do it fresh right in the morning, because that is filled with the fresh battles that are going on in your body. And this then, your body sees that, learns the DNA, and then communicates, because all your cells are communicating 24/7, 365 at all times. Your brain cells are communicating with your foot muscle cells all the time, okay? All the time. And so your immune system is the same way. All those cells are talking to each other and communicating all the time. And so when one of them finds this half-dead cell that was in your urine and it eats it and consumes it, it realizes, it knows, it's had the experience of actually killing that cell off. And it takes that information just like a bee goes to the honey hive and tells all the honeybees, hey guys, I just found a fresh new garden, follow me, or here's how you get there. And that's exactly how, remember, nature works in patterns and you learn truth through patterns. This is exactly how you know this is truth. Because your body will take that urine and it will digest it and it will find all that detritus that's in there and it will learn how to kill it all and you become healthy. It's also filled with stem cells, which help rebuild your body. That's why, Robert. And I promise you, I have met personally people, my personal friends, who beat cancer drinking their urine. I've had a conversation with a gentleman who did it. Took him 2 years. And every single time he had to go pee, he wasn't looking for a toilet. He was looking for a mug. He was looking for a mug. Nothing. I said to him when I was talking to him, so I said, for 2 years, your urine never left your body? You just re-drank it? And he said, yes. Yes. So there you are. Robert, my friend, I hear you. But current science and technology, because it's so against healing cancer, believe it or not, some of that information you're getting about urine needing to be cleaned before you drink it is bunk. It's bunk. Just so you know, it's not true. People are healing themselves doing this, Robert. You need to understand that. I'm healing a skin disease I've had for 30 years doing it. I'm in process right now. So, sorry, from my experience, I don't believe that. That's fantastic. You guys are inspiring me. You guys are inspiring me, and it's 8 o'clock. We're about to wrap it up. You guys have been an inspiration to me. What's this? Yeah, true. True. True that. It is the ultimate recycle. True that. True that. You guys are so funny. I love this chat. I wish that someone else could do this right here and I could just be in chat goofing off with you guys. This is fantastic. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you for the lead. You're a gem, love. Thank you for the lead. People need to see that. Go check it out, folks. Go check it out. Go check it out. Don't trust me, do research. Don't trust me, do research, Adam. Do research. There it is. There's your research location there, buddy. All good. All good. I hope so. I think I should. Okay, this is what I'm going to do to finish off the night. This is what I'm going to do. This is the only way. Okay, I cannot believe I'm about to do this. I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it. I promise you guys, I promise chat right now, I promise chat, by the time we have the Zoom meeting, I will have drank my urine for the first time. Okay? I just made the promise. Okay? We're going to talk about that right now, Tom. I just made the promise. So I'm promising chat right now, and I can't lie. I can't let you guys down. I will not let you guys down. So this is going to give me the strength I need to do it. So thanks to chat and my commitment to you guys are going to get me to start drinking urine. And my God, if I heal of my skin stuff starting to do this, you guys will be the heroes of my life. You guys will be the heroes for my life. Okay, so let's talk about the next Zoom meeting. Here's my idea. Please check this out. Those of you that want to attend, it's at a different time. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if we do it at 1 o'clock on Fridays, yeah, just hear me out. Look at the times of people around the world. Okay, these are reasonable times. So Scotland's 8 o'clock. London is 8 o'clock. Amsterdam is 9. Sydney is 7 a.m. on Saturday. New York, it's Friday, 4 p.m. These are reasonable times. What do you guys think? We're going to set the time right now because this is when we're going to have our Zoom meeting because we're having a Zoom meeting this next week. Works for me. See, I'm trying. Yeah, goody gumdrops for Scotland. Heck yeah, I'm thinking of you guys. And I'm thinking of my Aussies. And it doesn't require anybody to be up super, 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 super late. I mean, to a certain extent. To a certain extent. Obviously, that's not totally true, but to a certain extent. Yeah, that's what I thought, Katie Cat. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. You guys like? You guys like? Dude, I'm getting thumbs up, bro. I'm getting thumbs up. I love you, Shaman. Here we are. Looks like you guys dig it. I am a true night owl. I am. People aren't like me. When I started when I consumed frankincense oil for 6 months, it changed my sleeping regulation. I now only need 4 to 6 hours and I'm good. So, I mean, I go to bed anywhere from 1 to 3 and I get up anywhere from like 7 to 9. That's basically how I roll, or 7 to 8, 9, right around in there. Not 7, that's too early. Like 8, 9. New Hampshire, heck yeah. Esoteric, make sure you email me, Esoteric. I got a question for you. Okay. Should we go for it? Let's set it in stone. Let's set it in stone. Okay, so what we're going to do, let's turn off the... Here. This. So what we're going to do is 1 o'clock this Friday. Okay, let me get you a date. Here's the date. This is the next Zoom. So Friday the 7th. Friday the 7th. Where's my media assets? Here. Okay, Friday, November 7th is the Zoom meeting. That's the next one. At 1 o'clock Seattle time, right here. Okay? No need to send me an email. I will send emails unless you didn't get an if you didn't get an email from me in regards to the meeting, email me and I'll get you on the list. But I've got everybody's that's on the list that was on the list last time, and we're going to meet at 1 o'clock Pacific time on Friday, November 7th. And I'm going to set this up now as when we meet each week, and then we'll just have a few meetings from time to time that are of a different time. But set that in your calendars. That's what we're going to do, because I got an overwhelming positive response. So that's what we're going to do. Okay? That's what we're going to do. We're going to do 1 o'clock Seattle time this coming Friday, November 7th. Make your own time adjustments. If you don't know how to adjust time, ask Google. Say, hey, Google, when it's 1 p.m. in Seattle, what time is it where I live in Scotland, Edinburgh, whatever, London, whatever. And it will tell you the time. Be there. And I will send you guys the link. Good? It's been a good day. It's been a good day. Yeah. Right on. I hope you can, Brian. I hope you can. Yeah, we're going to do it, Scott. Heck yeah, brother. We're going to do it. See you there. Absolutely. See you there. Yes, that's it. I'm going to leave that up, Stacy. 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Friday, November 7th. Zoom with Chuck. Okay? Yeah. And by then, I promise, I will have drank a full freaking glass of urine. Okay? Okay? That's my promise. And I'm going to follow through. Right on. Okay. I'll see you guys later. I'm going to end the stream. I'll see you guys later. Love you guys. Thanks so much for being here. It's been a great time. Fantastic. I'll see you guys at the Zoom meeting at 1 o'clock on Friday. I'm just going to end the stream. We're just going to call it a day. Love you guys. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. See ya. I love you. Bye-bye. Bye.